vote for her because she was an educated black woman.
Yeah,
That's why they didn't vote for her.
it's more than that. I mean, you got to look at the.
Let me tell you something about racism. Did you hear what he said, though? Even if he knew that he didn't like black people, he would still vote for her.
Yeah, I mean, and I said I believe that.
And then I told him in the comments, I'll bend you over and you and peg you.
Okay, for folks who don't realize what she's talking about a previous live where I had a guest on. The guest was MAGA, and he stated that even if Trump, well, I gave him a hypothetical situation. We're talking about something about racism or whatever, and I talked about he was favoring how Trump is running the country, and he really liked that. And I was asking him if you heard that Trump was caught on a hot mic or something, or even said it publicly, that he did not have a high opinion of people of color, would you still support him? And he said, yeah. I mean, listen, and what I said.
And all you said with your fluffing ass, girly pop looking shit. Oh, well, I didn't like that answer. Well, no shit, Sherlock. You should have liked that answer.
Well, fact is, Gangsta Grandma, we have a host of presidents throughout our history that are considered as great presidents who were openly, basically pro-white. I mean, the founding fathers were not exactly in favor of equality, and they're some of the best presidents we've had.
Cut the kiss ass now, okay? Cut it out.
How was he kiss ass?
What he said he's a racist piece of shit. He is. And I told him I was going to bend his ass over and make him my bitch boy. I sure did.
Well,
and I would too. Because
okay.
white men love that shit. And
What
I said,
the hell?
I will hurt him.
Well,
And then, on top of anything else, then they want to take our corn away. Who does that shit in the United States of America? Take our corn away. In the same breath, we don't want to be freak no more. We got to be Christian-like.
What do you think? They want to take, you're talking about pornography. Oh, yeah, I don't like that.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
The corn. They want to take our corn away. See, they don't even want us to be freaking-linkies. They just want us to be basic ass, lay on our backs, spread our legs, and do it like that. They don't even want us to do anything else.
Well,
That's love right there, isn't it?
then let me go where I normally am. In defense of President Trump, in defense of MAGA, they're not trying to hold on. They're not trying to take away adult material. They're trying to keep it out the hands of children. You agree with that, right?
No, Texas, they can't have it. They can't have the corn in Texas. Because you know why I know this? Because I have a friend in Texas. And I said, look, fool, go look on, this one side, right? I said, look at her, BD, like that, right? And he said, I can't look at it. I said, why you can't look? He said, because they took it away from us.
Well, listen, if you
I'll chew it the corn.
hold on. If you live in Texas, you still have access to adult material.
No, you don't. They took it away.
You're telling me
Hot Wheels took it. Bye-bye.
You're telling me if you wait, hold on. You're telling me if you live in Texas online, you can't get on OnlyFans or anything. You have completely
No, can't do it. Nope. Because I promise you, I told going da-da-da-da-da-da-da, because I can't say because I don't want the thing. And they said this. He said you can't do it.
I got somebody, Mr. Mike in the comments says, yes, you do. I just watched it. I don't believe that, gangster.
I don't know. He told me he can't. So I said to Malik, you feel what I'm saying? Look at this. But they do. They really do want to take our corn away.
Well, I'll tell you this.
He's not even a freak. He probably can't F right because you know what I'm saying? I mean, golly.
Yeah.
The shit he be pulling.
What I think is happening is they have this age verification requirement in those states. And sites like Pornhub has decided we don't even want to mess with it because it puts us at risk of holding all this information on people. But if you want to verify your age in those states, you still can get access to adult material. It's not banned.
I know, but they shouldn't even trying to take our porn away. Well, porn away. He's a racist. Like, damn, they flipping all of us the fuck out, aren't they? Like, you can't do shit. You can't do that. You know what? It's gonna be basic ass sex. Ain't that some fucking shit? And that's the motherfuckers can't even do it right. Hey, God, something about a porn. Men can't even hold it for more than 2-3 minutes on a damn good fucking damn day. So damn, right? That's some shit.
So is that your your biggest gripe with Trump is you've lost access to adult material in some states?
No, I didn't lose shit. I'm in blue state, honey. We got corn everywhere. And if I want some dang I can go picking by there. And guys sit out there. You feel what I'm saying? I got a whole fucking damn team. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I got women and men. You feel me? See, shit. Grandma over here, guys got it.
All right, well, all right, before we exhaust the time, let's get to the actual topic of the show. Was Biden lying?
Say that while you're doing it, you know?
Well, so let me ask you though, in regards to the actual topic of the show, was Biden lying to the American people? They're saying that it takes.
Wait, are you talking about his cancer?
Yes.
Okay, let me tell you, motherfucker, something. I'm gonna roast you the fucking hell back. I hope to God you're not on your fucking side, because honey, I will bald-headed wipe your ass. You feel what I'm saying? Let me break this shit down to you. I just buried my fucking father from the same damn cancer. This shit's not no fucking joke.
Who's joking?
It is rapid.
Who's joking about it?
It is rapid, okay? My father, every fucking year, went in and got his, his testing and stuff. So 2 years ago, it came out negative. His whole shit came out fucking negative. Now let me hear this, you fucking little maggots, and listen to me greatly. If I walk your bitch asses. You feel me?
Okay.
He was negative.
So wait, hold on. So you don't believe there's a chance that Biden knew he had prostate cancer and simply kept it quiet?
No, because it's aggressive. My dad didn't know till he got sick. Okay, he couldn't.
Yeah, but gangster grandma,
he was in pain and stuff. I took him back to the hospital. Came out stage 4 aggressive.
Yeah, but your dad doesn't have.
Shut your ass up. I swear to God, you come up on this line and you bash Joe Biden. I swear to God, me and you go head to head, toe to toe, and you won't make it out of this go time.
Okay.
I promise. I'll try to get your hell back and back again.
But
But
your dad doesn't have the health care that Biden had.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does.
Comprehend this. It's aggressive. That means it come out of nowhere. It's a nasty ass fucking cancer. My father was a vet. My father had good, insurance. It's the testing and shit. When they said it's aggressive, there's 4 different types.
Okay, I want you to. Before you, I want you to listen to this because this is incarcerable. I want you to.
I'm going to mollywalk your ass. I promise you.
Okay.
You're gonna have pure hell.
Well, before you mollywalk me, I want you to hear this, and I want to discuss this with you.
Don't you guys?
Listen to this.
You bring up such a large point tonight, and we just spoke about this with renowned urologist Dr. David Schusterman on the show, who said that this kind of aggressive cancer with a Gleason score of 9 takes 5 to 10 years to develop in his experience. He said it's only a man who is
Not even the shit.
It's a urologist.
That's a lie. That's a lie. But let me tell you something. If he had cancer in the fucking office, they would have gave him treatment. Do you really think, Dodo Head, Girly Pop, you think he's gonna stop his treatment? Just his fucking lie? Get the fuck out of here.
How do you know he?
I'm so sick of your ass. Now I'm coming for your ass. I swear to God.
How do you know he wasn't secretly receiving treatment?
Oh my, come on, man. You can't secretly get cancer treatment.
What?
Get the fuck out of here, man.
What do you mean?
You can't secretly get. Come on, you know what? You're going down the rabbit hole.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
And go get your shit checked.
Hold on.
Go get your shit checked. Because one goddamn time with your dumb ass, they're going to get it. And don't tell me shit. I just buried my fucking dad from this shit. It ain't no damn joke.
Okay, nobody's laughing, but what I'm asking you is.
No, because you're calling Joe Biden a liar, and he's not.
You're not.
You go in 1 year, not have the shit, go back to next year, and be full blown with it. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Okay, what I'm trying to ask you is it not possible with him not being on TV, not doing interviews for so long, that he could have been receiving treatment?
He would never. You really think he would?
I'm asking.
Biden, he would tell them he had cancer because you had the treatment. You have to get the treatment ASAP or you won't survive. Do you think if he had it, do you think he would want it go into his fucking bones?
No, he
Do you
couldn't.
really think so? Have you ever seen somebody die from this shit? It ain't funny, man.
Yeah, my uncle.
It hurts him.
Hold on. Gangster, my uncle died from this disease in 2009.
It ain't no joke.
Who's laughing?
My father died and it's in pain.
Nobody.
To the day he died, this shit ain't no joke.
Nobody's laughing though. Why do you keep saying it's a joke?
You over here saying you think he lied. Do you really think a motherfucker's gonna lie about having cancer? It's the devil.
Okay. All right. I'm just.
You're going down a fucking rabbit hole. That you're believing the fucking right wing, the fucking sick and delusion of the fucking head, man. They want to find anything and everything to blame this man for.
Okay, it was just a question. Gangster, you know what I got? I gotta move it on.
Let me tell you guys something. Let me tell you before I go. I'm so sick of them doing everything they can to make this man look bad. He didn't lie about having cancer. He came out and he said it. My dad died from the exact same cancer he has. Okay? It went to his bones. And it killed him within a year. It ain't no joke. And I'm so sick of you going down this goddamn rabbit hole with the fucking maggots.
All right, gangster. Thank you for coming through. Listen, she whips my ass every time. I brought her up first to prevent any discrepancies because there was no way she could accuse me of fluffing it. She found a way to do it anyway. But I'm asking you folks, do you agree with her that maybe Biden absolutely was telling the truth and it's wrong to even question him? Do you agree with what my last caller said? Or do you agree with what the news report I just played states, that Biden has likely been dealing with this for several years and has not come out and told the American people? I'm simply asking it either way. Now, like I said, my last caller vehemently denies or disagrees with the notion that Biden would have kept this from the American people. So we'll leave it at that. Looking in the comments, by the way, tap the screen, get the likes up to 20,000. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Jay Schroeder says, do you see that she won't even let you get a word in because she knows? Well, that's on Instagram. By the way, if you want to come up live, we're on TikTok and on Instagram. If you want to be a caller in, feel free to do so. If you enjoy civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle, feel free to follow the program if you're watching on TikTok or Instagram. Get your boy a subscription if you're on YouTube. Generally here Monday through Friday. We are MAGA friendly. Been that way since day one. Always have, always will be. Big dog. Yeah! Thank you for the hat and mustache. And of course, liberals are welcome on the program as well. We don't block, ban, or censor any damn body. We go left of Bernie Sanders from having dinner with Q. Understand you can be critical of anyone on this program, up to and including the host. Is Trump introduced any of his medical records? General Lloyd Austin kept his diagnosis. No, that's true. And by the way, what I wanted to point out before we go to the next caller, because the possibility that Biden hid what he was going through, and many would say that makes Biden look bad if they believe he did. Would Trump do something like that? I would tell you right off the bat with the picture I just have here on the screen, the answer is likely yes. Now, obviously Trump does not have a diagnosis of cancer right now, but I'll give you this photo of Trump when he was dealing with COVID while he was president. And the reports came out later that he was very sick. In fact, they didn't even want him to walk from the White House to Marine One without oxygen. He was really sick. His oxygen levels were low and everything. And he was telling the American people that he was healthy. So would Trump try to hide an illness? We don't know because, like I said, he hasn't been diagnosed with cancer. But certainly when he had COVID, he wasn't up front either. So I do want to point that out. There is some light parallel to it when Trump was dealing with COVID. Chris Christie and a few of the other folks that were close to Trump later admitted he was very sick. And I see in the comments, Doug says he wasn't that sick. Well, then his close associates just lied about him because they said he was very sick at the time, that his oxygen levels were very low. And he was, I believe one of his administrative members later wrote a book or something that said he was so weak, he couldn't hold his own briefcase. That came out. But Trump was very sick during the pandemic. I mean, that certainly came out. So I want to point that out. Anyway, looking in the comments, COVID was new and so much was unknown. Last thing he should do is cause a panic. It got nothing to do with causing a panic. They could get you out of the White House without anybody seeing it. They could have just simply had him come out in the Beast through the back door and just drove the Beast over to Walter Reed Hospital. You don't have to. Look, I don't know if you're suggesting that he didn't want to cause a panic. That's fine. But you're not helping the public by lying either. Such as saying, well, COVID will be gone by April. Okay, you can try to prevent a panic only so far before you're worsening things by not telling people the truth. If you say COVID's going to be gone by April, what are folks supposed to think when May comes around and it's just as strong? Now you don't fucked up your credibility. Trying not to cause a panic, as you would say. Going back to the box, we should be around 20,000. Let your boy know. Tap the screen. I bet he'll show the boy some love. We'll go back to the box. Stick the ruler. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Having a president and vice president that imports their women is the best thing that ever happened to America. So you said J.D. Vance and Trump imported their women in a time when we're complaining about immigrants. Huh? Wow. Stick, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
What's going on, Tim?
Now, much I saw you in the comments. What did you hear was I getting it wrong on Biden? Do you think that Biden? Go ahead.
I think that it's two ways you can look at it. All right, you can look at it as he lied and he knew all along, and he's the reason why Kamala didn't win because he knew his health was bad. Like, if you're gonna go down the rabbit hole, let's do it. This is what the right thinks. Now,
this also seems to be what the medical community is saying too, though, Stick.
Okay, and what I think is maybe that farce, a sassy attempt against Trump. I don't think that was what it was. I think Biden is more of a patriot by if he did know.
What does that got to do with this? What are you trying to do?
Listen. What I think is if he did know, he seen somebody that was standing in front of him that he really knew what we have going on today would be going on. And if I have to sacrifice my life for this country,
oh my God,
in the sense of work my tail off, put black judges and try to fight against anything that affecting marginalized communities, I think if he had it and knew that he had it and he still was doing all of that, who's really strong? Is it
wow?
Trump?
That's an interesting take. So let me make sure let me summarize this for folks who are watching that may not have understand where you're going with this and clarify it to make sure I'm getting it right as well. You're saying that Biden loved his country so much and saw the damage that Trump was doing so clearly that as opposed to stepping down even in the middle of what could be a life-threatening illness, he would rather work until he dies than let Trump destroy the country. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and even with the Democrats coming at him saying, "Hey man, you need to get up out of here. You ain't looking too good." He still was on some. You know what? But if I leave, I'm telling you right now, she gonna lose, and I don't want that. So he fought it as much as he could till he just said, "You know what? If y'all love it, I love it too. You can have it." And notice, that's how he was with everything. Oh, okay, that's what y'all want to do with the border. Okay, I signed it. Just give me the bill. The bill never came to him. Remember, this is who Joe Biden was. And people keep forgetting that that's who he was. He was willing to work with you. He was willing to try to let you get what you want in a sense too. But it's not.
You're painting him as, that's some patriotic shit. If what you're saying is true, that he would, that's true, genuine love for country. If what you're saying, that's wild.
Hey, Trump say that's the love he got for the country.
Yeah.
That's the love he got for women. Whether they want it or not, he gonna protect them.
He did say that. He did say that.
And then maybe that's why Joe Joe was so damn tired. You know, maybe that's why he was Sleepy Joe, because he was working so hard.
But what about that? In the comments, Evil Major Boo says the Biden administration knew what was going on and did nothing. It's sad and horrifying. Do you see any sadness, or do you see? I mean, because if he did know, do you think he had any obligation to tell the American people at all in regards to transparency?
Okay. So I'm gonna say no. I don't think we should know his medical business, just like nobody else out here wants the government to know their medical business.
Yeah, but
just come in and grab your medical records and tell everything. Oh yeah, we see that you had stitches when you were 2. We see that they said that you had a mild acute a psychopath at age 11. You know, but you was cured. You know, you can't go into people's medical records and stuff, and that's HIPAA.
Let me ask, I get that, but let me ask it through this way. Would it affect your vote if you knew a man was dealing with a serious case of prostate cancer at the level that Biden is, where it's metastasized to his bones? Would that affect your vote at all?
Again, I would look at it how I'm looking at it now. It's one of 2 ways. You're going to be one of those people that say he was a liar, he knew what was going on, he's the reason why Kamala lost, because he waited so long, blah, 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 on and on and on. Or you can look at it a different way. He was willing to sacrifice his life for his country to make sure this motherfucker that's in there right now, named Donald Trump, don't get that.
Yeah, but there's more. But
and I'm going to be honest with you. He would have won just because he was Joe Biden and a white man. He would have won.
So you think that? Hold on. Let me make. So you think that if he had come out that Biden was dealing with a major illness, but was trying to just prevent Trump from taking hold, and the public knew that he was dealing with what could be, I'm putting emphasis on what could be a lethal illness, they would have still voted for him because they like the fact that he's talking about, I want to make sure Trump doesn't get control. You think he would have won?
Listen, big facts, and I'm going to tell you why. If Texas can vote for a person in a wheelchair,
he's not at risk of dying, Stick. No. We don't know that. We don't know that. Just like we didn't know about Joe Biden and what he had going on. And this is the thing about it. They just said he was diagnosed. So what that tells me is he never was diagnosed with it. It's just like Gangsta Grandma said. Sometimes it may come out of nowhere. I'm just saying. This far along?
Hey, have you ever seen Straight Outta Compton?
Yes.
You remember when Eazy found out he had the hip? Okay.
Wait.
That's all I'm gonna say. Well,
two things.
Man, what you talking about, man?
I got 2 issues on it. First of all, we know Eazy-E didn't have a medical insurance coverage that Biden has. That's the first thing. Second thing is
no, he wasn't getting checked up. It wasn't. He was a millionaire. What are we talking about? He was a millionaire.
He still does not have. He does not have the health care coverage that Biden does. You're right. He wasn't getting checked up. We'll go with that. But the second thing is when Eazy-E got HIV and later, AIDS or whatever the case may be, that was still a very new illness. Even the treatments and all that was still being worked out. Prostate cancer has been around for a long fucking time. They know how to treat prostate cancer, at least to some degree. They know a lot more about it. So I don't know if you can put Biden in the same category with that.
Well, it sounds like to me that everybody's trying to say he's been knowing he had prostate cancer since he was the vice president. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well,
if it takes 10 years, let's just be honest. If it takes 10 years, in 2015, he was the what?
He was VP.
Okay. So again, if he's been dealing with it that long, and he took a break, he seen what was going on, he said, nah, I can't let that go down, not again. And guess what? We fired Trump. We did.
Yeah.
We fired Trump. He got fired before.
But why wouldn't he? Hold on. Let's say he did exactly what you said. He was so patriotic. He was willing to work till his dying day, but he knew about this. He got Trump fired in 2020. Why not at that point, knowing that I may not be around forever, do everything he could among the Democratic Party to put in a successor? Not try to do a full 8 fucking years.
But guess what, Tim? That's where the third option comes in. He might not have known. It might be he just got diagnosed.
What do you? Look, we don't. Obviously, we don't know. But if you had to guess, if you had a, let's say you had a pile of money and you had to just guess here, which one would you guess that he knew at least months, if not years ahead of time, or he's just learning? Which one would you guess? In other words, just learning, maybe only a month or so he just found out. Which one in your heart of hearts do you think is true?
At this point, being that I don't know, I would say I don't think he knew. I think he's just like the lawyer said. He's an old, feeble man that, he just didn't know. And it's not because he was just so out of it. They did the test. Maybe they misdiagnosed him the first couple of times every time they, did the 6-month checkup. Maybe the equipment was faulty. There's so many variables that can be, going on with this situation. But I also am not going to forget that maybe he did know, because remember when his Secretary of Defense or whatever it was, he had prostate cancer as well. And it didn't come out until he disappeared for a while to get it dealt with. Yeah, the black guy. So now, mind you, I'm being fair. I'm saying maybe he did that in the sense of didn't tell anybody where he was at, because Biden already knew. I know where he's at, but I'm not going to tell everybody that this man got prostate cancer. You get what I'm saying? Because I got it.
Yeah, but I hear what you're saying, but all right, fair enough. But no obligation to tell the American people whatsoever, huh?
I don't think so. Because
what about his cabinet and his administration? What about his cabinet and his administration?
Nobody but him and his family needs to know. And even in his family, I would just say his immediate family. And the reason why I'm saying this is because that's his medical business. And we already had a vice president. So if anything happens to him, whether he's unalive by angry MAGA, or whether he's unalive because of his health, whether he's unalive because Air Force One went down, whatever.
I gotta vehemently disagree with you just due to legislation, and I'll explain what I mean here. Evil Super Major Boo says, no, it would not affect my vote by tackling the issue on hand. Could have prevented Kamala Harris from looking bad or worse, which is true in the end of that. Here's my point.
That's what I said.
Here's an example I give. Let's say President Kennedy knew what was going to happen to him at the library in Dallas, Texas that day. Now, he's working with Martin Luther King on civil rights. You know that you're dealing with something that may take your life soon. You don't know if the guy who follows you, which is Lyndon Johnson in that case, is going to give people civil rights. That's a huge thing that you want. You want the legacy behind it. You want to go down in history as the person that gave people civil rights. And you know that something is about to happen to you, or in Biden's case, something could happen to you. Why wouldn't you tell your administration to make sure they knew that if something happens to me, make sure you follow through on this particular bill or particular piece of legislation or whatever? You're saying no obligation to tell your predecessors at all. There are a lot of voters that he may have made promises to.
No, I'm gonna say this. You can make promises all day, but God takes you out of here, and you ain't got no choice but to go. You either gonna go with him or you gonna get sent down below. I'm going with him. I'm just saying.
I get that.
And then on top of that, on some spiritual stuff, I'm not gonna be down here with y'all going through this bullshit. I'm gonna go live in the glory.
No, I get all of that, but to me, what I'm describing is akin to, let's say, a life insurance policy. You can go in anytime you're right, but if you told your daughter or your son, I'm always be there for you, I'm always make a way for you, maybe you put some insurance in place so that if something does happen to you, there's something to guarantee that they'll be okay. Biden could have, this is what I'm saying, you tell your administration, just in case something happens to you, that they may honor your legacy by doing some of the things you were working on. But when you say you don't have any obligation to tell anybody.
Tim, Kamala had already told you she wouldn't do anything different. She told you that.
Yeah. Yeah, but
all right, hold on. Let me say another one. J.D. Vance. He's tooth and nail. He wanted to fight tooth and nail in the beginning, just like Kamala did.
Okay.
And she ended up taking a knee, and again,
taking a knee.
What it was.
You want to say taking a knee in regards to Kamala Harris? You know what she's known for, taking a knee.
Yeah. Nah, she ain't known for it. That's what they want her to be known for. But when I say take the knee, I'm talking about, she said, I understand the game plan because they were all in a huddle, like a team.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, everybody's trying to, be the captain because we got this coach that seems like if he don't get results, the ones that he's looking for, bump the fans. He don't care nothing about the fans. If it ain't the results that he's looking for, your ass gone. Even though the fans may be cheering you on, he don't care. It's what he's looking for. So at the end of the day, J.D. Vance is in step with Donald Trump. When Biden was with Obama, he's in step with Obama.
Yeah.
So everybody falls in line. It ain't no, I picked him and I don't know what he's gonna do. No, or I picked her and I don't know what she's gonna do. No, they know what they're gonna do. They're gonna do exactly what we already said that we was gonna do when I got elected, and then
that actually is not true, because when Abraham Lincoln lost his life after freeing the slaves and things like that, the next guy who followed up did the exact opposite, which is what took us right back to basically one step above slavery. I mean, he really halted the progress that anything. So we don't all, your VP don't always follow with you.
And I get it, because now we're talking about Mike Pence. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
There's always an example of both. But when your stuff is, I'll say stuff, your stuff is so wrong and so blatantly racist and so cruel, it is what it is. Like, who cares if that person didn't follow behind that cruelty? Who cares if that person didn't follow behind, that dictatorship? And then this is the thing.
Yeah, but when you're talking about cruelty, if J.D. Vance came along and he did not follow what you refer to as Trump's quote-unquote cruelty, he would be hurting by way of MAGA. They would not like that guy at all.
Guess what? MAGA don't know until somebody tell them what they want. They don't even know what the hell they. You know what?
Oh my God!
I'm gonna give you this, Tim, because I know you got other people you gotta let up, but I'm gonna give you this, Tim. This is MAGA to me. Have you ever seen Django?
Yeah, the movie, yes.
Yes. Okay. So in the movie, he goes down to one of the plantations, and they got to get these three brothers, right? Remember that?
I believe so.
Okay, they get the three brothers. The man that owns the plantation gets mad. He go gets a mob. They all come up, ride up on horses and stuff, and then they got on these damn masks. So who's ready? And I can't see shit out of this damn thing. Maybe we can take the mask off and do, and we'll use the mask later. He say no. I can't see, you can't see, none of us can fucking see. But it ain't a raid unless you got the mask on. This is the people that we're dealing with. They can't see shit, but they still want to do the raid.
All right, I get it. Stick, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God, the Django reference is hilarious because that was a funny scene. I do remember that. Tap the screen. Guys are slow. A lot of lazy thumbs in here. Damn it, get me up to 30,000. It helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. I'm sure everyone in here likes MAGA, right? Tap the screen. Help out your boy. Get the likes up to 30,000. Kill Bruce said that was a great analogy. Yeah, it was interesting. It was very interesting. I'll leave it at that. A Democrat calling me a triple K, says Johnny 11. And he's referring to the fact that the Democrat Party was the party that started the triple K. But also, my guess is, if you're saying that, you don't acknowledge that a party switch happened. And we'll leave it at that. Looking at Biden hates black folks. Always has, says Agent Smith. You know something? I hear that all the time, and I'll take the next call at 30,000. I'm going to ask you guys to tap the damn screen, get the likes up. Smash that like button if you're on YouTube as well. But on Instagram and TikTok in particular, tap the screen. in regards to the notion that Biden, as you say, hates black folks, Agent Smith, and he always has, there's only two choices. If you're African American and you believe that Biden despises African Americans, your other choice is Trump. As an African American, you have to ask yourself, do I believe that if I get rid of Biden that hates us, I will be going to a party that loves us? That's something you have to ask yourself. Now, the overwhelming majority of the folks I've seen throughout these conversations for, well, probably about 10 years, I've been doing, talking, debating on, actually calling in Fox News, and probably about 5 years on internet. The overwhelming, and I put emphasis on overwhelming majority of folks that are saying Biden is racist or Biden doesn't like people of color are people who are not of color themselves. That's just my personal analysis. Maybe you've seen something different. My particular experience is not representative of any of yours, but for me personally, and I've heard it hundreds of times, 9 out of 10 times, if somebody's telling me that Biden's a racist or Biden does not like people of color, that person saying it is not a person of color. That's been my experience, overwhelming. And there are some black MAGA that says it. Fact is, there are some black MAGA that says it, but usually the person claiming that Biden's a racist is not a person of color. Looking in the comments, you ever hear Biden talking about black folks? I don't think so. In what way? Continuing on the program, I see something says Slike or Stike says the Biden crime bill says differently. Yeah, the Biden crime bill is like 30 years ago. I mean, if you want to go with what the politician was doing 30 years ago, then you would be saying that Trump is a Democrat, pro-choice, in favor of an assault weapons ban. Now, I'm assuming you realize that he has evolved away from those principles, but you're going to hold Biden accountable to what he did 30 years ago? I mean, Trump was completely a polar opposite of where he is now. Isn't he quoted as saying the economy's better when the Democrat's in office? Do you think he believes that now? So if you're going to hold Biden accountable for what he did 30 years ago, then it's got to apply across the board, and I don't think you want that to apply to Trump. Biden used to hang out with a Klan leader in West Virginia. That's Senator Byrd you're talking about. And I see somebody else in the comments also says Robert Byrd was his mentor, for crying out loud. And we at 30,000. Yes, we are. I'll take the next caller real quick in regards to Robert Byrd. You ever had somebody give a story on Trump and folks say, I need to see the whole video. You're taking that out of context. You're only playing snippets, play the whole clip. I will tell you right off the bat, Robert Byrd, Senator Byrd, the commentary you hear on him justifying that Trump is a racist, or better yet, Biden is a racist, is exactly that. Fact is, towards the end of former Senator Byrd's life, I think he died in 2010. Towards the end of his life, he had made up with the NAACP and causes related to the African American community. And people bring up that Biden eulogized his funeral, but they don't tell you that Jesse Jackson and Obama were there too. They don't bring that up. Jesse Jackson spoke at Byrd's funeral because that doesn't fit the narrative anymore. If you start saying that part, it makes it clear that Senator Byrd is not the KKK member that he used to be. Just want to tell you that. So when you bring up Senator Byrd, I understand his life is being chopped off to fit a narrative, but Senator Byrd actually made in well with black causes and, like I said, the NAACP and Jesse Jackson and all of that. They were at his funeral. So you'll never hear that coming from the folks that are saying that. Anyway, let me go back to the box. Thank you for tapping the screen. And we'll go straight to Jeremy. Good evening, Jeremy. Storm Thurmond actually had a come to Jesus moment and switched to the Republican Party. Yeah, people can switch. Tulsi Gabbard switched. Hang on a second, Jeremy. He was Super Major Boost says Trump ain't shit. And he continues on by saying he is causing the airport shit and everything going wrong makes no damn sense. Jeremy, I'll ask you that. Good evening to you, by the way. Since Trump has become president, obviously there was a huge amount of DOGE cuts all across government agencies, FAA being one of them. All of a sudden, we're having all kinds of problems in the airline industry that were not happening just a few months ago under Biden. Do you believe that this is a coincidence, or do you believe that it is something related to the Trump administration? Why so many planes are crashing or having near collisions? What say you?
It's definitely a cause, but it's not Trump. It's the fact that the airlines are barely well, they're not capitalist anymore. They're not a free market at all. They've been completely taken over as like pseudo government entities.
And all this happened in the last 4 months.
Trust me, it's like sure you've been seeing these near collisions happen a lot more in the last few months, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's been problems with the airlines for a long time, especially when it comes to customer service, when it comes to abusing passengers. There's lack of refunds.
Yeah, but we're not talking about the chaos on the plane or in the airport. We're talking about in the air. We're talking about people almost crashing and dying.
It's not just that, Tim. That's just one part of a larger iceberg. There's been multiple problems with Boeing and other companies that have different planes in the air having maintenance issues. Because the more and more this has been happening. This has been happening way before Trump has gotten in. It's just that these near collisions have been happening a lot more just recently. But they're again a part of a larger picture.
Why do you think they're happening? Why do you think the uptick just recently, as you put it? What's causing that?
It's the fact that we have made the airlines less and less private and more government run. It's to the point where we don't really have a market system anymore. People don't want to admit this. They want to cope as hard as they possibly can. They're huffing that sweet copium like gangster grandma, and they don't. I know. Anyway, they want to pretend that when you take away competition in a market that and the government takes over, that things are safer, but they're not. There would be better customer service, fewer near collisions, and better maintenance on planes if it was more of a free market.
What does a free market got to do with 90-minute blackouts and radar and things like that in the towers? You think the free market would fix that?
Yes.
How? That's government controlled. What do you want the free market to be controlled, be in control of our entire airline industry?
Not the entire industry, but most of it. I know people don't want to admit it because, like, especially like Michael in the comments, he's sucking that sweet copium down hard. But the fact of the matter is this: just like the taxi industry, just like trains, and just like any major mode of transportation, when you have multiple competitors in a free market, you will have better customer service, you have better maintenance, you have better run roads, better run skies, better run train systems, everything. Always when you have a cap.
Why do you? I mean, when you're young enough that you don't remember back in the day when you could call customer service of anything from credit cards to banks and get a human being. Now you call, you got to press 1 for English, and you're likely to get robots in there.
I'm enough to remember that.
Okay, so when you say the free market will make better customer service, all of them environments are free market, and the customer service has gotten worse.
Actually, we've had less and less free markets as it's gone on, so I would say that's the exact opposite.
No. When it comes to call centers, there's no government oversight in that. That's the free market. They're choosing to do this. Same thing when you go to Walmart, and now they don't bag your groceries for you. You got to do this shit yourself, and the prices didn't come down at all, even though they were allowed to fire a bunch of people. That's the free market. That's not government intervention, and the service has gotten worse.
First off, I don't know what Walmart you're going to, but I have where you have self-checkout and you have
you know they've gotten rid of people, Jeremy. Come on. Even a lot of local supermarkets nowadays. CVS, for instance. You go there nowadays and it's one person. You can stand in line or you can ring and bag the shit up yourself. You know that. If you go you go on a flight somewhere, you got to go and check out and get your own damn ticket. Everywhere you go, you're doing your own work.
You want to know why they fired so many people?
Why?
COVID was able to shut down so many stores, or is that they were able to use the government intervention into our lives with the COVID lockdowns to destroy competition.
So you're saying without COVID, they would still have clerks and things like that everywhere?
a lot more. They see, this is what happens when you don't have competition in a free market. When you don't have competition, you create monopolies, oligopolies. The less competition there is in a market, the worse customer service you get.
I can't believe you said. I mean, the fact is, if a company can save money, they're not going to give you good customer service, whether there's a government intervention or not. Their goal is to protect their bottom line. You can give them all of the free market access they want. If they found a way to do things cheaper without giving you good customer service, as long as you're going to remain a customer, they're going to do it. The free market versus government oversight has nothing to do with this at all. It's all about saving money.
Saving money is something they will only do and rip you off at the same time to do it if they know you don't have other options. If you have other options, they won't do it, especially if you have a lot of other options.
They don't care if you have a lot of other options. If you're still coming to them, or if they're saving enough money that, okay, look, if I can save this percentage and it costs us 10% of our customers, it might be worth it to still do it. I mean, they're not trying to give you good customer service for any other reason than to keep you. If they can keep you with bad customer service, it ain't got shit to do with the government. It's about making money.
They can't keep you with bad customer service if you have other options. That's the thing. We see this. Every economist on the earth would be running a train on you about this shit. Seriously?
Yeah, they can keep. I mean, Walmart kept. Listen, if I can sell you shit cheap enough, you might be willing to deal with bad customer service just to get cheap products. I don't have to give you good customer service. I just have to give you enough to get you in the door.
But if it's really bad customer service and you can get the same products for maybe 50 cents more, but you get really good customer service, you're going to go there.
Like I said, this is why I keep bringing up the fact that you're young, because you don't remember when Walmart versus Target was a real thing, about how messy and trashy the Walmart stores were, but how clean it was in Target. The 50 cents more per item you're talking about. People went to Walmart. They wanted cheaper shit.
It was still a major competitor. Target was still a major competitor. Walmart was the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, but they were giving bad customer service, but they gave cheap products. So people still went there.
Guys, you gotta listen. Listen, Tim. We can see. I've seen evidence of the exact opposite all over the place. And again, you would not see. Like if it wasn't for COVID shutting down a lot of smaller competitors that didn't have the deep pockets that Walmart did, you would see a lot better customer service and a lot more people. And come on, there's a good book by Thomas Sowell. It's called Basic Economics. I think you can handle that. You might want to try it out.
Yeah,
it's a good book.
I just disagree. I don't think that it's got government intervention or government oversight is the problem. I really think it's making money. But I want you to hear this. We disagree on that, but I want you to hear this, because this is something that, in my opinion, is not getting enough discussion. Listen to this clip here, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
The nation is now in peak severe weather season, but former National Weather Service officials warn staffing cuts could put lives at risk. Recent and proposed cuts mean fewer forecasters tracking dangerous weather. Back on April 17th, tornadoes hit eastern Nebraska, but the Omaha NWS office only launched one weather balloon due to short staffing. That missing data meant forecasters missed early tornado warning signs.
We are generating kind of a Swiss cheese weather service. We have holes throughout the weather service now that are not well thought out.
And now every living former NWS director is warning potential funding cuts could lead to needless loss of life. And the spokesperson told NBC News work is underway to restore services at local
Now, what I'm asking you about is, we're talking about Doge cuts. Now, this is from April, this clip is. We just had a weather system sweep across this country over the weekend. And I think the number is up to 27 dead. And people in some of those areas, Missouri, I believe Kentucky, Virginia, are claiming that they had little to no warning that tornadoes were going to come through. And this is in regards to the notion that the Doge department made all sorts of cuts to the weather forecasters all over the country. Now, Elon referred to this as waste, fraud, and abuse. I'll start off by right up by asking is, do you see where some of these Doshas, and now we were just talking about the FAA before I played this clip for you. Do you see any possibility that lives may have been put at risk by what Elon has done, I mean, with Trump's blessing with all the Doge cuts?
I'm going to say most likely not, but I don't know for sure because I haven't looked at this individual case. This is actually very new to me. I haven't heard about this before. But the thing is, when it comes to all the other Doge cuts, they've been pretty solid so far.
How do you know? Solid in what way?
Well, solid in that most of them, especially with USAID, well, don't say USAID, it's not aid. But USAID was a perfect example of waste, fraud, and abuse being cut out really well.
Well, let me just say this. In regards to you saying that these other cuts are solid, fact is, Jeremy, you're just going by what they're telling you. Now, if you believe that USAID was a bunch of waste, fraud, and abuse, fine, that so be it. But it's mainly based on they told you condoms are going to monkeys in Ghana or whatever they are. I mean, you don't really know. Elon has said a lot of things that have not come true. But all we know is that he's telling us this stuff. Like he told us that they needed to fire a bunch of wasteful employees in the FAA and wasteful employees in the weather system. We haven't seen any evidence, solid evidence, that these folks needed to be terminated. So you're saying it's solid, but it's really just based on what he told you.
Well, there have been independent agencies that have actually looked into groups like the FAA and USAID, and a lot of them determined that yes, a lot of it, especially with USAID, were waste, fraud, and abuse. USAID, I hope it shuts down as an organization as a whole, because they're basically.
So did you know what about things like aid to starving children in foreign countries and stuff like that? All of that was going through USAID, Peace Corps going over and treating folks who did not have access to medical care. USAID was doing all of that too. You think that's fraud and waste?
Two things. Number one, the USAID is. Sorry about that. USAID is just a sneaky way for the CIA to intervene with sovereign governments and take away their freedom. Number two, most of what USAID, when they actually did give supposed aid, it was actually not very effective at actually helping anyone out.
So you don't think any starving children or children that needed medical treatment were getting anything from USAID?
They weren't getting anything substantial.
And what are you basing that on?
So there's a good video by a girl named Shuan Head who actually did a deep dive into this and sourced many different nonprofits that did investigations into this. But a good example of this was there was actually a foreign government building that was supposed to be built by USAID in the country. I forgot what exact country it was, but it was somewhere in East Asia. Like it was somewhere in Southeast Asia. And USAID, after a major catastrophe, came in and was supposed to rebuild it on behalf as a gift to that government. What actually ended up happening is they only hired American companies, and those American companies did such a poor job. The entire building by the native government had to be torn down and rebuilt by the actual government.
Here's what I don't get though, Jeremy. A lot of medical professionals in this country, while they're seeking to improve their own skills, often go and work in the Peace Corps, and they actually help folks out in some of these countries. So you say that nobody is being helped. There's a whole lot of doctors and medical professionals in this country that will tell you, I know they're being helped because I went over and did it. What's making you say that that's not happening?
No. They aren't being helped on the same level that private organizations have been doing for years. The Catholic Church has done more to help people all across the world than USAID ever did by a significant margin.
Okay.
I'm just saying, USAID is one of the most hated organizations that ever came out of the U.S. government, and they're hated because they're a Trojan horse used to topple governments. And
is there any examples of countries saying they want USAID to leave them alone? If they're that bad and they're hated? What countries wanted USAID out of their country? We don't need you to trying to offer to help our people out. Get the hell out of here. What countries are you talking about?
Ghana was one of them.
Really? I have not heard this. And Mike in the comments raises a good point. Where do you think the Catholic Church get their money from? A lot of these private organizations you're talking about, they're getting money from the federal government to do that.
No, the Catholic Church gets its money through donations.
So they're not receiving a penny from the federal government.
Not from our government. The Vatican City does have its own deal with Italy. Well, that's separate, and that's only to maintain the actual nation of Vatican City. That's it.
Yeah, I would listen.
Church just does it through donations.
Fair enough. I do gotta move it on, but I would tell you in between our conversation, Google federal tax dollars, Catholic Church, and see what comes up. Because I think you're wrong on that. I believe that a lot of these organizations that go over and help those folks on behalf of Americans are getting aid and getting some type of benefits from the federal government. I don't think they're doing it 100% on donations, as you're putting it. I believe the federal government is helping those folks out as well. It shouldn't be hard to find folks, if I'm correct, in those organizations complaining about they are only able to do so much now since their federal funding has been cut. I would tell you, any of those organizations you think are doing it on your own money, look them up and add the word federal funding to whatever organization you're talking about, and you'll probably find out a lot of them are getting help. Jeremy, I do got to move it on, though. Thank you.
Have a good one, Tim.
You too. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen. Get us on up to 60,000, THOU. The Vatican has its own army. They got an armory. The guards are Swiss soldiers. I don't know where you're going with that. He says all sundown towns. What are you talking about? They're I don't know what relevance that has what we're talking about now. Evil Superman boom. There is bad weather hitting all over the Midwest, badly and crazy record heat in central areas like Texas, Colorado, Kansas, and had 5 tornadoes yesterday. Yeah. And guess what's on its way coming up? We're right around the corner from it.
Starting June 1st.
Florida typically struggles with hurricanes.
Hurricane season.
Everybody looks at weather.
Has weather software and hardware companies like SDS Weather.
It's a resource everybody needs.
Pulling data from a range of experts to provide real-time data in a storm.
We integrate with National Weather Service, NOAA,
an organization on the radar of DOGE cuts. Its research helps the National Weather Service when it comes to determining the strength and location of a storm. But an investigation by our Kate Hussey in March revealed nearly 800 NOAA employees were laid off as part of DOGE cuts.
How much do you guys rely on accurate forecasting when you deploy your resources?
We highly rely on it.
Staff with Cat 5 Resources said they use a mix of forecasting sources and data to stage generators and other disaster relief before and after a storm.
It's really important for communities and families to be able to prepare adequately for storms.
The American Meteorological Society is also sounding the alarm on behalf of NOAA, saying cuts could have disastrous consequences for public safety and economic health, as NOAA research in planes that fly into hurricanes to collect essential data could be grounded.
That's a little scary that, reliable weather sources.
And I want to say this, before I go live, I often do a little bit of research to come up with these clips and things like that. This is one topic that I have never been able to, this is one topic that I have never seen so much information pop up for. The fact is, there are people all over the country that were warning the Trump administration fucking with the weather department could cause folks to die. There are literally videos titled, and this isn't coming from, folks like myself or content creators that are online. These are coming from news sources and things like that. People you've seen on TV, mostly news outlets. And I'm talking about your local news outlet. I'm not talking about MSNBC, CNN, or Fox. I'm talking about your local ABC or CBS affiliate that comes on at 10 o'clock. The forecasters on those programs overwhelmingly are saying that this cutting folks in the weather industry is terrible, because you can't give people proper warnings. They're cutting weather balloons and shit like that out, as you heard them say in that video. Flights that go into hurricanes that track the paths of them, all of that. Why was this viewed as waste, fraud, and abuse? why was the weather services cut to begin with? Like in this particular, one of the particular videos is literally stated needless lives could be lost. I mean, it literally is everywhere. All of these are like station affiliate videos. So this is not, like I said, this is not some content creator. You literally have the call letters of the video. Like, this one here is WKYC Channel 9. I mean, they're like all over the damn place. I've never seen any subject where there are this many people screaming out that getting rid of the weather service or making these huge cuts is a bad idea. All over the place. Anyway, looking in the comments, and yet they still did it, by the way. Yet they still did it. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, 27 people died in this weather system that just happened. And there are folks saying that they got little to no warning that a tornado was coming. And it's because of the staffing cuts. There's not enough people to hold, especially in these rural areas. There's just not enough people to man the alarms and sirens and shit. Going to the box though, Dencal, good evening. I think I hit that. Oh, D Blue, good evening. When you're rich, you can fly around the storms. Yeah, that's true. D Blue, good evening. Hey, so do you see any potential for this, or maybe you do think it was waste, fraud, and abuse? Getting rid of so many folks that worked in regards to the national forecast all over the country.
First of all, I gotta say, Jeremy definitely has autism.
He what?
Definitely has autism. I put my next paycheck on it.
Why would you suggest my last caller had autism?
He sounds like a slightly more autistic Elon Musk.
Oh my God. Well, then that means he may be the next wealthiest guy on the planet. I mean, Elon is doing very well.
He could be doing good in a couple of decades. Never know.
Yeah.
All right, what was your question, man?
Wait, first let me ask you this, because I see in the comments, that bald chick said he's not wrong. I don't know if you're talking about my caller now or my last caller. What did Jeremy say? Do you think he said anything that was wrong?
He said a lot of things that were wrong, but I can't remember all of it right now.
Well, he was talking about the free market, and now I asked him.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, no. I mean, in my opinion, for the longest time, has been that capitalism is cancer. I think capitalism is one of the biggest problems with this country. From my perspective, anyways.
I can see where you're going with it, because the primary tenet of capitalism is greed, and when you're being greedy, you're obviously are leaving little to nothing for other people, and that can cause a problem in itself. I mean, like for instance, in regards to us talking about this waste, fraud, and abuse, tons of people have been fired. USAID, me and Jeremy talked about that. Have you heard anybody suggest where all this money is going that they're saving and recouping?
No, yeah, I haven't heard anything about where the money's going, and I think it's kind of crazy. I mean, I was on the side of, I don't like Musk or Trump much, but I was on the side of cutting some waste, fraud, and abuse. They actually found it, but it seems more like they're just going through and slashing everyone from the government that they don't like or that has spoken poorly of them or gets in the way of their agenda. So it's not about waste, fraud, and abuse. They're just getting rid of people, and we're never going to see that money. I guarantee we're never going to see that money. It's going to fill the pockets of the 1%.
So it could be a big heist, so to speak, or a grift.
Yeah, seems that way to me.
Yeah, and I will say, I don't know whether or not that's the case, but I do believe there should be some kind of explanation as to where all that money is going. And they were bragging about how much money they were saving every damn day, but it's been 4 months now, and there's been no mention of, well, where's the money going to go? Okay, you saved all this money. I mean, when are we going to see the benefits of it? In fact, now I'm hearing that Medicaid may be on the chopping block. We know other social programs. I mean, the things that were helping out a lot of Americans are getting chopped as well. So you've made a killing and saving money. Yeah, tax cuts, but how is the average American person benefiting? I haven't heard it.
Yeah, and I mean that's if they've even actually saved anything. It could all just be a lie. I mean, politicians do lie about things. I don't think that's anything new.
Mm.
So, yeah, I mean, if there's actual waste, fraud, and abuse, like I said, I'm all for purging the government of that. But that just doesn't seem to be what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of fraudsters that they've left in the government right now.
Elaborate. What do you mean?
Agenda.
What do you mean? You said they've left fraudsters in the government. What do you mean?
Yeah, insider traders like Margaret Taylor Greene and what the fuck is her name? I can't remember the other chick's name.
Bobart? Or the other girl.
Funny story. I actually lived in the same town as Bogart growing up. Rifle, Colorado.
Oh, okay. Or Pam, I think Pam Bondi. Is it Pam Bondi? Is that the one you're looking for?
Yeah, that's also one.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah,
So,
and,
but while we're speaking in regard on behalf of the Trump administration, what about the no? Because this was our original topic we're talking about. Do you think it's possible that Biden, now that he's been diagnosed with a serious case of prostate cancer, actually knew about this and just kept it secret from the American people?
I don't think it's so black and white. I think it's possible that he knew he had cancer, right? Like maybe he was getting 6 month to a year checkups, and he knew he had like stage 1 or 2 cancer. The thing about cancer is I've heard a lot of people talk about the time frame. There is no definite time frame. It can progress pretty quickly, especially someone at his age. So.
Yeah, but you believe it could
go. I could see it going from a stage 2 to a stage 4 within a year's time. So I think they probably knew, but at the same time, I think that they didn't actually think it was going to progress so quickly or get so bad.
Yeah, well, it could be, but you got to keep in mind, even if you don't think, you know there's always that chance. Do you believe he had any obligation to the American people to let them know what he's dealing with?
I think, yes. In a perfect world, I think, yeah, he definitely does. But I think the problem is the opponent that he was running against.
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, they would have made it a much bigger deal than it actually was. So say he had stage 1 cancer, right? And he comes out and he's transparent with the American people.
Right.
And they blow up about that and use that to say, well, he's going to, what if he dies during his term, this and that. But stage 1 cancer doesn't guarantee it's going to progress. At the same time, it can progress very rapidly.
Well, and I think you're probably right, and I think that would have hurt him, because if Biden is running for president and he admits that he is dealing with, let's assume the whole, dementia and all of that shit wasn't there as well. Let's say he was, everybody believed he was cognitively sane, healthy. And he admitted he had prostate cancer, stage 1, as you say, a much lower case of it. The idea that if for some reason this, progresses and he has to step down, we're looking at Kamala Harris taking his place. I think that would have hurt him. I really do, because we see what happened ultimately is that a large portion of America did not want Kamala Harris in there. So even if Biden was healthy and sane, I think folks realizing that he has an illness now that could take him down and Kamala Harris is going to step up, I think that would have hurt him.
I can't quite remember right now. How long is the election process?
What do you mean, from the time you run to the time you get elected?
Yeah.
Depends on how soon. Trump this time, many suggest because he was dealing with criminal charges, he announced that he was running for president in June of 2023. That's the earliest any president has ever announced they were running. So he ran, so that's like 18 months, I think it is almost, or something, from June 2023 to November 2024. So that's a little bit shy of 18 months. But usually it's a lot shorter than that usually.
Yeah, I mean, he could have found out. Yeah, he could have found out right around the end of his term and just had a rap case.
Yeah, and I see in the comments, someone, Poe Bill says, are we assuming that Donald Trump is healthy? You do see Trump is healthy, right?
Healthy enough to take it. Yeah.
I mean, you don't see anything wrong with his mental faculties.
It's hard to tell with him, because he's been so loony for so long. So it's like it's all a part of the act.
What has Trump done to lead you to say he's loony?
Oh man, come on, brother.
I'm asking.
Don't do that.
I'm asking.
Go all the way back to his stupid show. What was that show called?
You talking about The Apprentice? He wasn't loony on that.
Oh come on, man! That was some of the most dramatic shit. I know you're old school.
It's a television show.
No, it wasn't all that bad. But I wouldn't say he always has been, but definitely in his later years, he's definitely gotten a little loony. I think that's pretty apparent. All you got to do is watch a press briefing or an interview or anything like that, and the guy falls apart. So
I think the guy is very comical, and I don't always like his jokes, but I think he's very his awareness is awesome. He knows what's going on. Huh?
That's what he does though. That's what he does though. If he doesn't know how to answer a question, or if he doesn't,
he attacks.
If he gets lost in the conversation, he does something either extreme and kind of offensive, or something funny.
Yeah,
that's his go-to.
He does attack. I agree with that 100%. If you question him, he does not like the question. His immediate inclinations is go out and attack. He absolutely does that every time. But it's worked well for him. So can you blame him?
Hey, and I'm going to take this time real quick to shout out Jon Stewart. We need to start talking about him more, everybody.
Well, he got to announce he wants to do it, though.
Your social medias. What's up?
He has to first say he's interested first. He's not made that statement.
He said that the last that he somebody asked him, I can't remember who asked him. One of the other late night hosts, but somebody asked him if he would consider running, and he said he didn't say no. He didn't say yes either. If that makes any sense, but it didn't seem like it seemed like he was open to the idea if it was the right time.
All right. Well, I do. Well, in regards to
the more it's trending, the more he's going to consider it. You know that. So
we'll see. Look, I think that a lot of his ideas would resonate really well with the left, but Jon Stewart, huh? You think that?
I think he resonates well with the right too. I think that's why he's been so successful with these debates on these hostile networks, Fox News, and all these debates that he does, is because he's so good at connecting that even those guys can't really retort what he's saying.
Yeah, he would be really good in terms of dealing with somebody like Trump because he can obviously throw it back being a comedian. But we'll see. We'll see. I got to move it on, D Blue. Thank you for coming through.
Brother.
All right. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. All right. Moving on. By the way, tap the screen. Get your boy on up to 70,000 on the likes. Rod Stewart, your boy. Isn't he the one that if you want my body and you think of the Rod Stewart, huh? Some people aren't doing their homework, says Ravonda. Is that what you said? Elaborate on that. Groceries, such a beautiful word and something Americans can't afford. I don't think groceries have been priced above affordability. You may have to get less groceries, but what did Trump say? Instead of $11, you got to get 2. You didn't say dolls are completely unaffordable, so I don't know if we're quite there yet. But we're talking about the notion that Biden may have actually knew that he was dealing with cancer a long time before he told the American people. Before I go to the next caller, I do want you to hear what is leading us to suggest that.
Such a large point tonight, and we just spoke about this with renowned urologist Dr. David Schusterman on the show, who said that this kind of aggressive cancer with a Gleason score of 9 takes 5 to 10 years to develop in his experience. He says only a man who is medically neglected wouldn't know about it. This is one of the least medically neglected men in the world. Leland, we did not get a PSA score on his health reports. We didn't get them on Trump's either, to be fair. What does it mean if this wasn't a new or sudden surprise diagnosis?
Now, what meaning he knew about it. Now, real quick in the comments, before I go to the comments, rather, you heard her say a Gleason score. I'll put that on the screen here because that's how far along his cancer is. Now, the Gleason score, I had never heard of this before, so I'll admit I had never heard of this before, but a Gleason score is when they judge the quality, or I guess the threat of the cancer you have. You probably can't see it on my, well, you might see it on the monitor behind me, but it goes from 0 to 10. If your Gleason score is below 5, it's not even considered cancer. A 6, cells look normal, cancer is growing slowly. They have for a 7, you have an immediate risk for aggressive cancer. Immediate risk for aggressive cancer. If you have an 8, 9, or 10, cancer is likely to grow aggressively. Biden is at a 9. They gave Biden a 9 at Gleason score. Now, in his case, it's already in his bones as well. So it kind of negates the typical prostate cancer treatment, which could be to remove your prostate. But in Biden's case, unfortunately, because it's already spread to his bones, simply removing his prostate would not make him cancer-free. So let the man have his own private business, get out of the gas. Well, Billy Wop, if he wanted to have his own private business, Biden is a citizen now. He didn't have to tell anybody. If he wanted to have his own private business, he could have just kept it private. I want to say his administration, but his, at this point, I guess they're called assistants or whatever, but his office decided to release this. They're the one that decided to release his health condition. They didn't have to do it. So he didn't want to keep it private. But has he been keeping it private until now? That's what we're going to talk about. Play the Trump interview, drones cut down trees like Paul Bunyan. What? I ain't heard him say nothing like that. On a Sunday, yeah, he released it on a Sunday also, which is normally designed for when you don't want a story to really have any legs. I mean, you want to release a story to get a lot of attention, you do it on Monday morning. You releasing a story on Sunday night, yeah. Dencal, good evening.
Good evening, good evening.
Good to have you. So do you think this man was holding out, actually had knowledge of what was going on with him and just chose to keep it secret, maybe to help him get reelected or something?
I'll say two things about that. The first thing is that we're having a conversation about what he might have hidden from us when actually prostate cancer has nothing to do with his ability to run the office. It has nothing to do with his cognitive ability. So all of that's just speculative.
Wait a minute. Didn't he have an African American gentleman with, I think the guy was his Secretary of Defense or something like that, that also was, he was also dealing with prostate cancer, and he had to disappear for a while to get treated. So when you say it has nothing to do with him running the country, if you gotta leave and literally leave your duties behind while you're getting treated, how could you say it has nothing to do with him running the country?
You're talking about if he decided to have a procedure. That's the only thing that kept Austin, in the spotlight, is that he went and had a procedure, which took him about a day and a half.
Right.
And then he resumed his duties in the hospital with all of the technology that we have. And the reason I'm saying that is because we saw Trump's, he had his, his checkup. Mm-hmm. And they showed us that he's on medication that would indicate that he's got levels of heart disease that's progressive. We can tell by the medicines that he's on. Like, I think he's on like high dosage of lisinopril and stuff like that. We know that he's one hamburger away from a damn heart attack. But we ain't gonna say nothing about that.
When was that discovered? When was that discovered?
The last time he told us he was 6'3" and 215 pounds. We know that. But ain't nobody said a damn word about it. So I'm going to say I don't give a damn if he did know he had prostate cancer. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing that's happening right now. And I don't think having prostate cancer affected his ability to say yes or no, yeah, we should do this or do that. So I'm not going to give him all of that time to, like, we're going to go down this rabbit hole of whether he knew something or not. Just like you said, if he was hiding something, why in the hell would he come out and say it right now? Because it would put so many people under the bus. Like every doctor he's had, everybody.
It would also put Kamala Harris and a lot of his administration, who some might be running for president, under the bus as well, because they're already asking the question of why has the liberals been continuing to protect Biden when there clearly was something wrong with him.
Right. So I'm not gonna give in to that and start wondering like if he did or if he didn't. The fact is, he lost the fucking election. He's no longer the president, and he got cancer now. I can't go back and be like, well, maybe he lied about, because we could have that conversation every day of the week.
Yeah, but if you get Trump, and if you're somebody who really don't like the current administration, and it looks like that some of his antics is the reason why Trump got in, or he may have helped Trump by maybe not stepping down and letting a better Democratic option run, or telling folks about his illness. I mean, wouldn't you at least have some sort of a viewpoint on him for putting us in that situation?
I would say if we could draw a direct line between him having a bad damn debate and prostate cancer, maybe. But that was the only thing. That was the only thing that we saw. And maybe it was because his people was protecting him, and maybe it was because this or that, and they wanted to make he walked up the shorter ladder to get on Air Force One, and we could make all types of assumptions about what could have been and what's not. Yeah. All we know for sure is that he got stage 4 cancer right now, and there's a possibility he might be on the fast track of dying soon.
Wow.
That's all I know.
And I see go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I said I see Ace Ventura in the comments counter by saying, how many years has Trump been hiding his mental illness? You don't see Trump as mentally ill, do you?
I do. I do. I truly do. And I'm not a doctor or anything, but the way he can get up there and lose his train of thought within seconds, just like that person was saying, he got up there and started talking about damn drones cutting down trees. He was talking about...
I haven't seen that. Somebody in the comments just said that. When did that happen?
I'm talking about... He was talking to the highest level people in the Middle East, and he was talking such nonsense. Them people had to stand there and listen to him with a straight face, man. And he was just talking, he wasn't talking about nothing about the topic that it was supposed to be about. He got up there today when they was talking about revenge porn, making it like illegal and all of that stuff. And he got up there talking about Vladimir Putin, who did revenge porn to his wife. When he showed those daggone naked pictures of Melania on
I do remember that.
Yeah, come on, Tim. Let's not get. Look, I know what they call it. When you throw so much stuff at you.
Fluffing.
No. Flooding the zone.
Okay, flooding. That's Steve Bannon.
When we get to flooding the zone and we start forgetting about what's actually happening in this world and how he just went over there to the Middle East and just sold our country. Yeah. He just gave up. He gave up what should be our dominance in AI because they got the power to generate these they need these the information for AI, the data.
That's coming from Elon, probably.
Right. So he went over there and he sold us out, got him a nice plane and everything, and now he over there. He said, "Nobody can stop this war except for me." Now he done said it again. He came up here today. We had a great conversation. It was lovely. It was beautiful. Oh, they gonna start negotiating. What the hell is that?
Yeah.
Start talking again.
That's why I've said continuously, and I know MAGA don't like when I say this, but damn it, it's all about free speech. If Trump loses in the midterms, if it's significant enough, the chances of him getting impeached, I gotta say probably about 90%. I mean, because he's done so many things that they can. I mean, there's so many different angles to come up to, like what you're talking about, selling the country out for jets and shit like that. I don't see how he escapes it. If the Democrats win the midterms, he's gonna get impeached. I just cannot imagine that not happening.
Yeah, I mean, you said 90. I'm saying 99.
Damn.
99%. There's no way they can come into power and have the subpoena power and the investigative power and just let all of this shit go. They can't. It would be malpractice of them to do that.
Yeah, everything from
right now, because nobody will start an investigation into anybody except for now. They say they're gonna start an investigation into the celebrities who tried to help Kamala Harris get in office. Trump said they're gonna start investigations on those people and talking about some $11 million was given to some entertainers, and he wants to find out. That's what the Department of Justice is about to concentrate on right now, is to see where the hell $11 million went from a campaign that cost almost $1 billion, and everybody was slinging money all over the place on both sides. But he's not going to investigate nobody who stepped to his aid.
To me, he's doing exactly what he accused Biden of doing, and that is weaponizing the Department of Justice. I mean, if he got an enemy, chances are the Department of Justice has, at the very least, investigated them. He literally is weaponizing the Department of Justice to go after people he has a problem with. That is an article of impeachment. I mean, there's going to be so many areas that they're going to come at him with. I don't see how he could govern effectively after the first 2 years if he losing the midterms.
He won't be. He would be a lame duck. But he had Pam Bondi went out on TV and said on Fox News, I believe that James Comey should be in jail for the 87, what was it, 47, 86, or 86, 47. Now, we got all of these examples of Matt Gage. We got all of these different people using the exact same language, 86, 46. They got all of these people. But she on TV talking about James Comey should be in jail? Without an investigation? I could see if she said, look, we really need to look into it.
Well, I'll tell you how that works. The fact is, if Trump says something awful about you, you either deserved it or it was a joke. And if you say something about him, your ass need to be locked up. That's kind of the way it's been. I mean, I'm just telling you, MAGA loves when Trump is criticizing and insulting other people, and they don't like it when it's happening to him. It's always been that way because Trump tweeted out a picture of Biden hog-tied in the back of a pickup truck. So you're going to bring up that, Comey said 86-47, and you got a problem with that, but you didn't have any problem with it. Trump himself sending a picture of this guy hog-tied while he was president, then it's okay when Trump does it, but it's wrong when it's done to Trump.
And you know that all you got from the right wing was a chuckle about him being hog-tied. That was so funny. Yep. Somebody say 86, which literally means like throwing away, get rid of, or whatever. That's a call to violence. Not march down to the damn Capitol and take our country back. That's not bad enough.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have any pushback for that. If Trump is going to complain about violence being perpetrated against him, but it's okay for him to do that, then he's being about as hypocritical as possible. Now, if he hadn't have done that, then maybe we could have a conversation. But sometimes he doesn't make a good messenger for things that he might be onto something for some things, but like for instance, you don't need $11, you only need $2. Fact is, a lot of Americans do overspend. We do buy a lot of shit. He's just not the right messenger for it. You're the guy with gold toilets and your own multiple planes now. You're having a parade that's worth 90-something. You ain't the right guy for this message, even if the message is good.
Then, but when somebody like Barack Obama or Joe Biden say, hey, we might have to buckle down, for a little bit while we try to get this economy under, you don't tell us what to do. Yeah. Don't be trying, when Michelle Obama said,
I saw that,
don't tell our kids what to do. We'll eat all of the damn, know what I'm saying? Sugar cakes where you want to. Don't tell our children to be healthy.
Yeah, some of it is just blatant hypocrisy. You're right. When Michelle had the healthy choice thing, you know, like you said, I don't want you controlling what kids eat. Now, all of a sudden, Kennedy comes along and everything he's saying is gold. He's trying to make the kids healthy. Well, when Michelle was saying it, she was wrong. And yeah, so some of it is hypocrisy.
The leader of Health and Human Services gets on there in front of Congress and says, don't listen to what I tell you.
Yeah.
Like, well, who else are we supposed to listen to but the leader of Health and Human Services?
I don't get that. You're in control of the FDA, the CDC, and all these other organizations, and your response is, well, you shouldn't really listen to me. Then why the fuck are you out here?
Imagine if Fauci would have got out there and said that while he was battling the pandemic. He was saying, well, look, don't necessarily listen to me. Do what you want to do.
I mean, but it works for MAGA, so that's all I can say. Why do you think they see things so differently than, say, you or even me in that area? Where we're talking about hypocrisy. Why do you think that they can see attacks and criticism of Trump so clearly, but when Trump is doing it to somebody else, it is so irrelevant?
I mean, I think they can see it, but I think he appeals to their worst angels. Like he makes people, even though they're not benefiting at all, he makes people feel like they somehow are getting some benefit from hurting other people. Like they get on here and they was like, you telling them that this is going to cause lives, deaths by this weather stuff, by not being able to inform people fast enough, not having the alerts come out in time, those things that we as a country fought so hard for because we were losing so many lives because nobody was getting informed. Remember when, what was that, Biden who did the emergency alert thing? Like, It goes out to everybody in the country at the same time on all cellular, that kind of stuff can save lives. And for them to come in and start destroying that stuff and them just say, well, they should do better by just looking out the window. That's crazy.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, and that's what happened over the weekend when you had all these storms. They're saying that in some areas they didn't get ample warning that tornadoes were coming. 27 people died and things like that. And right now,
and more to come. More to come.
Yeah, because they're missing.
That was in her tornado alley, right?
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Well, I guess because it happened in Missouri, it happened in Kentucky. People lost, damage was in Virginia. I mean, it literally swept across the middle of this country.
Right. And that's not even starting to talk about hurricane season, which is the whole East Coast.
Yep.
And he's already dismantled a lot of FEMA. He's removed the money, saying that the states can take care of it themselves. It's going to be a lot of MAGA people because it happens every year. There's no getting around it.
Right.
Hurricane season is going to destroy some shit. And the storms have been getting heavier and stronger. And when that shit happened, and them motherfuckers was complaining about $750 and they don't get shit, it's going to, look, then I don't know who they going to blame then, but it ain't going to be Trump. But
no, I don't think it's going to be Trump. I tend to agree with you. It's probably not going to be Trump. I don't know how that works, but when it's time to hand out blame, it don't matter if Trump stepped up and said it's my fault. They will let somebody. The deep state got to him and made him say that. I mean, they're not going to believe that Trump is at fault. I do agree with you. He's just not going to get blamed for it, but we'll see. But what about Elon Musk? Is it possible? Because he's the one that made all of these cuts. Is it possible that he may get blamed for it?
I didn't even think about that. Yes, that is the perfect scapegoat for them. And that is who he's going to say, I hired somebody to do this. I didn't do it. Because every other time he's on record, boy, they can do a montage of him in the Oval Office and cabinet meetings saying, I didn't know. I didn't have nothing to do with that. Oh, yeah, that's Biden's economy. Oh, but when it's good, it's my economy.
But he literally is in the office with Trump on video talking about the cuts, and Trump is saying Elon's going to do this and do that. So why would Trump not get blamed for Elon's cuts? I mean, he's clearly on video co-signing all of them.
Well, fortunately for you, as I exit, you have the prime people you can ask on your live, the MAGA. Whose fault is it when these people start dying? Because it ain't if. It's not if. It's not if, it's when.
Well, we'll see if they believe that. Den Cal, as always, thank you for coming through.
All right, take care.
You too, man. Thanks. All right, moving on with the program. And I see in the comments, White Horky says, Tim is a Trump hater and always will be, period. I wish I could get that caller or that viewer and Gangsta Grandma to talk to each other, because Gangsta Grandma says I'm fluffing and speaking on behalf of the white man. Need to get you guys to get together sometimes. Seems like the guy hasn't watched Trump without hating him first. The news has always made him look bad. He's helping our country. See him without prejudice is all I mean. Ravonda, I'll just say this, because you often hear that. And by the way, tap the screen, folks. Give me on up to 75,000 on the likes. We can certainly do that. Almost 200 of you here. Tap the screen, get the likes up. In regards to the news making him look bad, I don't deny that the news often does not paint Trump in a favorable light. But the idea is that Trump is simply trying to do what's right by this country. He's an innocent president sitting in the Oval Office trying to do what's right, and people are just attacking him for no reason at all. That's not an accurate portrayal of Trump. That's just not. I mean, Trump attacked. I mean, he just attacked Bruce Springsteen and Taylor Swift this weekend. So you think the media is making Swifties, Taylor Swift fans? You think the media is making them hate him? So the idea that the media, I don't buy that it's just the media. But I will say this also. When you look at how Trump treats the media, do you think they have a reason to cover him fairly? When you're calling reporters ignorant and telling them their questions are stupid and dumb to their, you think they're going to cover you fairly? He's not treating them really well either. This is what I was telling my last caller when I stated, if you support Trump, you can see him being attacked, but you kind of gloss over his attacks of other people. Look, I'm not denying that there's a lot of attacks on Trump. What I'm trying to point out is Trump launches a lot of attacks on other people as well. And if you support Trump, you don't give a damn about that stuff. You either think the person that he's attacking deserved it, or you think it was a joke or taken out of context. You only are concerned with the attacks coming towards him. Trump has attacked a whole lot of people. I'm just going to say it that way. Well, they attacked him first, or Trump has attacked a whole lot of people. And whether it's a measure of him attacking back as revenge, like the Taylor Swift and Bruce Springsteen, well, that was revenge. They said something about him first. If you get in fights, you're gonna get hit. And Trump loves to fight. I've said it before in the program many times. You don't have to show up to every fight you're invited to. I bring up George W. Bush all the time because he said in his book, which I actually have here still, Decision Points. This is a book George W. Bush wrote when he left office. And he says in his book how it really hurt him when Kanye West got on TV after Hurricane Katrina and said George W. Bush does not like black people. Notice he did not attack Kanye West back. He clearly could have done it. Trump would have done it. But then now you've pissed off all of Kanye West's fans, and they don't like you. When Trump is attacking all these people and you're cheering it on, understand that he's attacking folks that have millions of folks that favor these people, and he's doing it to some. Robert De Niro's another one that has said bad things about Trump, and Trump has said bad things about Robert De Niro. You don't have to show up to every damn fight you're invited to. You like the fact that he fights back, but you don't want the consequence that comes along with that, which is exactly what I stated. When you get in fights, you get hit. Rocky won a hell of a lot of fights. Did you see how he looked, though, at the end of those fights? Did you see? He didn't go home looking normal. So you like him hitting, but you don't want him hit back. Looking at the car, Tim is make sure 30 bar challenge. Go. I don't get what that is. I hope America wakes up. You're better than this. Wake up and see what? I don't understand what you mean by that, but continuing on, He goes after their credibility. Trump goes after everything. It ain't just their credibility. He goes after their looks. I mean, he said Taylor Swift is no longer hot. Is that going after her credibility? He said Bruce Springsteen is not talented. That ain't going. I mean, that's just whatever. He goes after whatever's there. I mean, when he's talking about Biden and his cognitive abilities, or he's talking about handicap, I mean, he's going after whatever the fuck is there. Ain't nothing off limits. It got nothing to do with just their credibility. He's going after whatever he can get his hands on. Looking in the comments here real quick. We'll move on with the program. And we'll go to Mike. Good evening, Mike. Welcome to the program. Look, people, it's the media that's making people dislike Trump. What say you?
The media didn't tell him to go after Taylor Swift, Oprah, Beyonce, Jon Stewart, John McCain, Jimmy Carter, the Obamas. The media didn't tell him to do that.
Yeah.
The media didn't tell him to repost a clip on True Social with somebody screaming white power. The media isn't making him do these things. He's doing these things.
Yeah.
And then when somebody reacts to the things he does, all of a sudden he's being attacked. Listen, this is when I told you he's mediocre. That's what I mean. He doesn't want to take any responsibility for the things that he does, but he wants everyone else to feel sorry for the things that happen to him in return.
It's working though. That works.
It's the softest way. Well, but again, it doesn't mean that it's not soft and it's not bullshit coming from the free leader of the country.
Yeah.
And again, Tim, when you say it works, let's clarify this, goddamn it, because you and this working and winning shit. We have to say for him as an individual. It works for him as an individual. It's not working for the country. It's not even working for his supporters. It's not working. Listen, if it were working for his supporters, they wouldn't be twisting themselves in the pretzels to try to explain all this bullshit. Like for example, and Bake Boss, check this out. Since you say I'm jealous, check this out. So Jeremy got up here with his full chest and said that the Vatican, right, gives more money than USA, right?
Yeah, he did say that.
Anybody on this live can go post Catholic or Vatican funding, and it will tell you that they get the majority of it from USA. You will see dozens of articles and stories where the Vatican was pissed about the Doge cuts. So for him to sit here and say that shit like it's fact, and the funny part about it, this is the third time we've done this on your live, Jim, with Jeremy saying that and me coming up right behind him saying he's full of shit, right?
But you know the thing is, I even told him, I figured that was the case. And I told him exactly what you're saying. Just Google the source you're saying is doing this stuff independently and add the word federal funding behind it, and you'll find out most of these folks were getting federal funding. I mean, and I was saying the same thing you're saying now. Without even looking it up, I knew that was the case.
Yeah, because they've gotten over $4.6 billion over the last 9 years. So they're not getting funding? Fuck out of here. And see, this is the problem. This is the problem when they state these things as facts. It shows their cultish behavior and their unwillingness to be factual because the facts don't coincide with their ideologies, right?
Well,
the facts don't coincide with their ideologies, but at the same time, the facts do coincide with the reality of what we're witnessing. I mean, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Every time these conversations come up, but listen, you know it's bad when Gen X was in the comments saying, Biden shouldn't have to turn over any of his medical records because Gen X knows what the fuck's coming. See,
that's horrible. That's horrible. Oh my God.
Gen X said that shit because Gen X knows, because if his medical records.
That's horrible. I know where you go with that bullshit.
And so does he. That's why he said that shit. That was self-preservations in the comments all day long. Here's my whole point. Now, in all seriousness, my brother, August 2nd, my big brother last year, August 2nd, 2024, passed away from prostate cancer. He went through the whole things. He had been in remission and came back, and he was terminal, got in his bones, and 5-6 months later, we lost him.
Sorry to hear that.
I don't know if he knew or not, but here's what I do know, or here's what I do believe. Let me say this. Here's what I do believe. I believe the older you get, especially men, we don't talk about our health. That's why they're always we're always getting forced to go to the doctor, right? If you got a significant other, Tim, does she try to make sure you take your ass to the doctor, right? Most of the time, we're getting forced to because men don't typically look at themselves like they should.
That is true. I will say, it's the testosterone of being a man, but it's also the fact of how our healthcare system is in this country where, you can't go to the doctor for anything without having to come up off of money. And God forbid you need to call an ambulance or go into emergency care. Even with good healthcare, it's going to cost you good money.
Yeah, it is. And now money is not his concern, but the male bravado, that ability that I'm fine, don't worry about it. I'm fine, don't worry about it. It's just a cold or just sore or do I believe, based on what I watched with my brother, do I believe that he was probably feeling something but didn't know what it was at best? Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
But you don't buy into the notion that the only way you can get as far advanced as him is to have been dealing with it for a while. You don't believe that?
No, I don't believe that you necessarily know what it is, but I believe you can deal with something.
But they states that a president gets their blood drawn and gets tested every 6 months. So, I mean, he's not gonna, if you're a neglectful male, you're talking about men not going and getting their, healthcare check. If you're a neglectful person, you can have shit festering you forever and you don't know until it's serious. But somebody like the president of the United States with 100% free healthcare, you believe he would be this far along and that's the first he's heard of it while doing routine checkups?
No, I don't. No. That part I don't. But whether or not it was this far, whether or not he shared it, whether or not he even shared it with Jill, because he doesn't have to. You got to remember, because he's president doesn't mean he's not an individual that has the rights to protect his whole health. He doesn't have to share it with anybody. And a lot of people do it. A lot of people do that in their own marriage. They don't want to panic anybody. They don't want to share that information. They want, you know what I mean? That happens without being.
Yeah, but if you're running the country, obviously as a citizen, you don't have to share shit. But if as a president, you don't think you should tell the people that?
Listen, if we were talking about normal times and normal circumstances, but like Dencal said, if he would have said he had the flu, Trump would have said he's going to be on his deathbed.
Yeah.
That's how dirty Trump has been running this thing from the beginning. It hasn't, I mean, he's still doing it now. He's still doing it now. So, yeah, I would have said, again, it's the same reason why he pardoned the people he pardoned.
I see the comments, Misha, you say no to as well. No, but I mean, I'm thinking like this. If I'm voting for you, let me ask you this way. Would it affect your vote at all if you knew you were voting for somebody that may, and I'm emphasis on may, but may have a terminal illness? Would that affect your vote at all?
In this potential cycle, nope. I told you I would have voted for them if they would have drug him by his ankles, Biden up there before I voted for this sack of shit. I told you that. But that's neither here nor there. It is understanding your opponent. That's why he pardoned the people the way he pardoned them, because he knew. And has Trump proved him to be right? That he did the right thing and pardoned the people he did?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, Trump Trump has made it clear that I'm going to take revenge on anyone that, did anything. I mean, he's even going after law firms. So, if he hadn't pardoned Liz Cheney, if he hadn't pardoned those folks, Trump would have went after him. I think that's pretty evident.
I want you to Google, for all the people that don't think this stuff is real, I want you to Google Trump's opinion on revenge. There's an interview. Have you seen that interview?
I know he said he wouldn't have time to be a vengeful president to Sean Hannity. He said he wouldn't have time to do that.
No, this is before. This is before he even ran, where he talked about revenge. He believes that if somebody does something that, you damn sure you're right. He is very vengeful.
Yeah.
There's a video out there.
I don't think we. I mean, over these last 4 months or so he's been on, I don't think you even need to show anybody the video. If you're in 2025, May of 2025, trying to deny that Trump's a vengeful person, when you see what he's done to former MAGA and Republicans at this point, the likes of John McCain's and Mitt Romney's. Yeah, I mean, he clearly believes in revenge. Not to mention all of the mean tweets and shit. All of that stuff is revenge too. Where they said something about him first. I mean, yeah, he's obviously deeply involved in revenge.
Well, yeah, but you could ask MAGA Reacts, you can ask Jeremy, you can ask Julio, ask him is he vengeful. They'll say, well, no, Tim, he's not.
I don't know him. I don't know. I'd have to listen. I think Trump supporters believe he has a reason to punch back, but I don't think Trump supporters, even the ones who are truly devoted to Trump, would try to say he's not a vengeful person at this point. I think everybody realizes that. They just think he has a right to defend himself.
Right, a right to defend himself, but they never hold him accountable for the things he's doing. And this is why I think that he's suffering from sundowner syndrome. That's what I think. In all seriousness, I think he's dealing with sundowner syndrome. And
what the hell is that?
I think the way that, well, it's a condition, that shows late day confusion and worsening of cognitive behavior and things like that, which would make sense. Mood changes, which would make sense as to the timing of when he does things. The timing of when he's always posting on social media. Misha knows what I'm talking about. The way he posts things late night on social media and in his off hours, I believe that that's exactly what it is. But nobody wants to talk about that. I can't speak on the timing. I mean, because that guy, if you fuck with Trump, he's going to attack you no matter what time of the day it is. I mean, I don't know where, because he was in the Middle East when he attacked Taylor Swift and Bruce Springsteen. I don't know what time it was locally over there when he did it, but go ahead. I want you to go back. I'm telling you, I want you to go back and think about, even though Big Boss was saying how Joe Biden released this on Sunday, I want you to go back, and we talked about this before, watch most of the times that Trump makes an announcement or something is announced. It's later on in the afternoon, in the evenings, or on the weekends. And most of his Truth Social posting is late night, early morning. Look at it. I'm telling you, it's a pattern of his. It's always been. Well,
but I'm going to put on my devil's advocate hat and defend Trump here and say, well, that shows that he can stay awake, unlike Biden, who was claiming he needs to be in bed by 8 o'clock.
I know we're not talking about a motherfucker staying awake. He was literally sleeping when he was over in South. Are you kidding me?
I'm just gonna. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I mean, when you talk about being able to hold a schedule, I think Trump runs circles around Biden. Trump can stay up late. Okay, he fell asleep a couple times because he was bored. Maybe that.
Hold on, let me ask you this question.
Sure.
This is so funny. It's a weird. We know that he doesn't read his briefings. We know that he doesn't read any of the shit that he gets. So he doesn't prepare for anything. He doesn't stand on stage and speak about substance. When's the last? He literally just said the fat drug the other day. He doesn't read anything.
People like that though. People like that straightforward talk.
He's not doing it because he's being cute. He's doing it because he's not preparing. And if you can just wake up and fly off the seat of your pants with your rhetoric and your bullshit, what work is he really doing, Tim? See, most people are preparing. Like, you prepare for your shows. You prepare for your lives more than he prepares in the presidency.
Well, I mean, but for Trump, it's speaking off the cuff, as they say, shoot straight from the hip. It served him well. I understand why he's doing it. It has served him well.
Tim, he's not doing it for that. That's all he can do, Tim. He can't prepare and sit down. His first term, his administration told us he didn't even read his briefings. He don't read that shit.
You can say what you want about him, but he somehow got China to come to the table, and the tariffs are much lower now. I mean, he's making. I don't know what he said, but all of a sudden he's getting a free jet. I don't think you're giving him credit.
Tim, who pays it? Tim, who pays the 30%?
We do.
And who pays the 10%?
The 10% that they imposed we're imposing on them. Well, we're imposing 30% on them. They're imposing 10% on us.
And so who pays the 30%?
And the consumers pay it.
And who pays the 10%?
The consumers.
So the Chinese consumer pays the 10%, and the U.S. consumer pays the 30%. And we won that.
Well, there's more to it. There's more. No, there's more to it. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I say that. It's looking like, even though normally you're right that the consumer has to pay the tariffs, it's looking like Trump, who you claim is a bad negotiator, is about to get Walmart to eat some of the tariffs. Can you get a boy some credit?
You said about to. Here's the thing. Here's what I will tell you. That shit ain't gonna happen.
I'm not sure of that.
And listen, and if they do eat some, it'll be very short-lived. Stop it, Tim. The bottom line is, when they started talking about China, he was like, the lowest I'll go was 80%. That's what he was saying. Yeah. But you know what? But then the very next words out of his mouth, he said, but that's going to be on his people to negotiate. He always does that. Listen, the one thing that he's consistent about, he will move the ownership and accountability to somebody else. He will never keep it on him.
It works. But what if he does get the major big box stores like Walmart and Target to eat the tariffs? Would you give him credit at that point? Now we're getting 10% from China, and we have the stores in this country that are making a ton of money, as he rightfully points out, to eat the tariffs without passing it on to the people. Would you give Trump credit then?
Hey, I doubt it. And I'm going to tell you why.
Why?
I'm about to tell you. You asked me, I'm about to tell you. Because it's not a victory for him. It's showing how soft they are because they got shareholders that they're emboldened to. If them CEOs give them breaks, them shareholders will fire their ass. The board of directors will come right in because they're greedy, Tim. It's capitalism. They knew what it was when they started. It's not like they didn't know. They just didn't think we would be here because Trump is not loyal to anybody, Tim. Trump is loyal to Trump.
Don't that make him and by the way, Stevie D, appreciate that, thank you. Does that not make Trump a boss? That he ain't got to be loyal to anybody, but people are bending over to work with him?
It makes him a mob boss. But listen, but it makes him a mob boss.
Mob boss for America?
Listen, and I kept telling you, I told you that he is the prostitute in chief. I told you that yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. He is the prostitute in chief because everybody is on the chopping block. Everybody's on the table. He will use you, and they will use him at will. He's playing around over there in the Middle East. He's playing around. He thinks this is a game. See, the money they have that they're throwing at him, they don't even give a shit about that money. They're holding him for favor. You know that, and I know that.
Well,
you know that, and listen, let me ask you this: how many times has the president been caught on a hot mic or on video saying some wild shit?
He's a few.
Everybody moves around him like, nope, I am recording because I know this motherfucker. Yeah. And listen, everybody has done that, Tim. Everybody in this orbit, or either they remove themselves.
Well, you know what I think. You know what I think. The reason why everybody around him is recording, and I think it's the same reason you're saying. It's very similar to the Nuremberg trials, where you were not allowed to simply say I was following orders and get away with it. Folks know that in the future they may need a get out of jail free card. If you keep doing everything he tells you, and then the liberals win and they start impeaching him, you need to have some excuses to isolate yourself from him. So that might be why they're recording every damn thing.
Everybody in his first administration that he said were great people, great hires, when they left, he called them that. He said that they were shit. He said they didn't know what they were doing, all of them. Even Mike Pence, to the point where they were looking to hang Mike Pence. Anybody in his orbit that doesn't think that will happen to them, all they got to do is just hold his beer, and they'll find out that they are no different than anybody else. We're watching it in real time. This isn't hyperbole. We're literally watching it right now. I mean, this man sat up there on TV and went in on Bruce Springsteen and Oprah and Beyonce and Bono. Now he wants to. Listen. I don't believe you to see this. He wants to open an investigation, like Denkow said, into them saying that there was campaign fraud.
After what he said in the 2020 election?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Tim. Or everything going on right now, insider trading. Now what the tariffs are. This fool literally said, "I'm sending letters to the other countries because we don't have enough time to negotiate with all 150 countries." I thought he just said he had all of them kissing his ass and coming to the table.
I hear what you're pointing out, but fact is, the public, this country, they love the guy. He would win again if he ran against Kamala, I think. I got to move it on, though, Mike.
One more thing.
Sure.
One more thing. Are you watching over in Romania, and I think it was Italy, Italy and Romania? They both had their elections.
Are they running? Are they running from the conservative because of Trump?
Well, both conservative parties that were in the league recently lost.
Yeah. I've seen that there is evidence of that. The conservative politicians are losing all around the world because people see what's happening in America. And same thing what happened in Canada, where the Liberal Party was trash under Trudeau. But once Trump came along and started threatening their sovereignty, they fuck it, we're going to stick with the liberals because he's speaking out against Trump. Yeah, he's getting people elected. And there are people that are on the left side of the aisle. That is happening. Mike?
It was the largest political swing in points that we've ever seen.
Wow.
In a short period of time in Canada. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
That 24-point lead that the conservative had up in Canada 30 days or 45 days before the election and lost was the biggest. Yeah,
it's happening in this country too. Like the mayor of Omaha is now a black guy. First time they've ever had one. When they've been a traditional red color, it is starting to happen because Trump is this. What Trump is doing is exactly what the liberals got criticized for doing. Going too far to the left. Trump is going too far to the right, and he's upsetting people. So we'll see if that continues. I mean, he still has a year and a half or more. So. But that is happening. Mike, I got to move it on.
That is happening. Let's get you up to 100.
Thank you. By the way, yeah, he's right. Tap the screen. Get your boy on up to about 90,000, I think, on the likes. Smash that like. But what about the immigrants' hunger game? Oh, my God. You know, that is something that came up. They trying to get them to have some type of he says hunger games, but a show where immigrants compete for citizenship. I didn't bring it up because apparently the guy who's pitching this to Kristi Noem, he was on News Nation and he stated he pitched this to the Biden and Obama administration and the previous Trump administration as well. And he states that when he pitched it to Obama and Biden, they were somewhat open to it as well for a little bit. So it ain't something that's just popping up under Trump. But it does sound like the Hunger Games or something where they're talking about folks competing for citizenship. Michi! Good evening.
What's going on, my friend?
Not much at all. Good to see you on. Good to see you on.
You too.
So go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I was gonna say, it's interesting when we one of the things my daughters challenged me on when I was a Republican was like, look at the extreme right and look at the extreme left. Look at the extremists in both parties and see which one you more align with. And so when I look at the extreme right, I see white supremacists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can't deny that.
White supremacists, keep going. I'm listening.
Your body, my choice. We see like Christian nationalism, right? And when I look at the far left, and I don't always agree with the far left, okay? But they at least want like free, like healthcare and equality and inclusiveness. So when I look at the extremes of both parties, like I definitely tend to lean more left because it's a more inclusive versus an exclusive.
Well, let me tackle the ones you said on the left, because I'll tell you how it can be viewed as, because you're talking about healthcare for all and equality and inclusiveness. I'll tell you how it can be viewed negative. Okay, healthcare. Well, you're forcing people who have money to take care of folks who might be louse on the system and deliberately try not to work and get entitlements. This is the way it's being viewed. That's why they're against this universal health care. What are you saying?
I mean, listen, buddy. I mean, what a bad take.
No, I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just telling you how it's being viewed.
But what a bad take. And honestly, like any other country that has universal health care, their health care outcomes are better for everybody.
Yeah.
They're better for everybody.
But their taxes are worse. But a lot of Americans are going to say they're getting taxed. The shit's getting taxed out of them.
Yeah, they're getting taxed, but they're getting something out of their taxes. Unlike right now, we pay a lot of taxes, but what are we getting for it? Wouldn't you rather pay taxes and actually not have to pay I mean, 600,000 Americans go bankrupt because of healthcare bills in this country every year. Like, that's disgusting. That someone would go bankrupt because they're sick.
Yeah, I was telling Mike that my last call in a minute ago, and he's talking about men don't often, follow up on their health care. And I told him the charges have a lot to do with it. Some folks don't want to have to pay a copay or a deductible, the cost makes people, deal with illnesses that they may have gotten taken care of.
Right, and that's actually the biggest problem we have in the United States is that people are don't want to go because of the cost.
Yeah.
And it disproportionately affects people of color.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, that's a fact. So we're the only developed country without a universal healthcare system.
How do you?
And we rank low.
But how do you respond?
Outcome.
But how do you respond to folks like on my YouTube side? Michael Gardena says, "But how's Canada doing with free healthcare?" Folks will point out that they got free healthcare, but they say it's poor compared to ours.
Well, that's incorrect because if you look at their healthcare outcomes, if you look at the way,
About ready?
if you look at their healthcare outcomes, they're dying at a lesser rate than American citizens. So, sure, I'd rather be Canada than the United States of America. I mean, so what are you talking about? Like, the United States ranks low.
Yeah, my opinion, and I have the same opinion, but my point on it is always this: Canada has the right to vote just like we do in America. They have a democracy or a republic, whatever you want to call it. But if they thought our healthcare system was the bomb, they would vote it in. They would be saying, I don't want to have healthcare unless I have a job too. And when I'm in between jobs, I shouldn't have healthcare. Notice they're not voting for that. They don't want a system like them. And by the way, none of the free world is trying to vote in favor of our healthcare system. So that shows that they don't view our healthcare system as that great.
And actually, a lot of other countries, I think people don't understand. They actually have privatized healthcare as well. So if you have a lot of money, don't worry, Republicans. You still can jump to the head of the line with privatized healthcare. So I just don't understand why Americans fight so hard against their taxes going to support healthcare. It's amazing to me how many people vote against themselves. And I want to push back a little bit. I don't think that Joe Biden's diagnosis was hidden. I think this was a new diagnosis. You don't get checked for prostate after 69 routinely.
Really?
Joe Biden...
I'm a man and I didn't even know that. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. So at a certain point, unless you're at high risk for prostate cancer, they're not routinely checking after a certain age. So having lost both my parents to cancer, my dad was diagnosed in August and died in January. My mother was diagnosed in September and died in October. And my mother worked in healthcare and worked around doctors and was a nurse. So to say that the Bidens are like that he was sick and there was a cover up is just a conspiracy theory. But
I've been playing this clip. I don't know if you were here, but I want you to hear this because it goes in line with what we're talking about.
Or is this a case of the American public not being told something that would be very material?
You bring up such a large point tonight, and we just spoke about this with renowned urologist Dr. David Schusterman on the show, who said that this kind of aggressive cancer with a Gleason score of 9 takes 5 to 10 years to develop in his experience. He says only a man who was medically neglected wouldn't know about it. This is one of the least medically neglected men in the world. Leland, we did
now,
not.
According to them, this is News Nation. So you're not buying that it takes 5 to 10 years to get where he's at.
I'm not buying that because plenty of doctors have come forward, and each situation is very different in the advancement of cancer. The type of cancer he has that's aggressive is different from someone else's. Like, my parents had regular checkups, so they had annual checkups. So to say that it was neglected is ridiculous when they actually don't test for prostate cancer past a certain age. if you don't have a family history. I listen to the doctors and the scientists, and I mean, this is a spin for sure. Yeah.
Well, I see it, and by the way, I see it on my YouTube side. Evil Super Major Boo. I think you have a fan there, Mishi says. This woman this woman is fabulous and very sexy. She makes a good point about everything, the healthcare, our system. Trump, the activist, beautiful. Except the end of that, I don't quite get, but apparently you have a fan out there. But
That's fine. I mean, I have fans, I have haters. It's fine. But honestly, like my mother worked in a hospital and worked amongst doctors, and still her cancer went undetected. And so I don't think that anyone can understand very rapidly. And again, it's I don't know. Even if with colonoscopies, there's a certain age where they stop testing you. Yeah. So they're like,
to me, that would be a better explanation, I think, if he said that, due to my age, I haven't been. I'm going to be on the opposing side of you, Mishi, and say this. It's hard I tend to think that if you're getting regular screenings, you should have caught this. I mean, going from 0 to 100 like this on your first diagnosis, huh?
I'm going to ask you a question then, okay? My parents got annual checkups. My mother got annual checkups, was a nurse, and yet her cancer wasn't detected before it was too late. She had stage 4 cancer and died within 6 weeks. So, I mean, what are you saying? Like, I mean, people can get annual checkups, and yet sometimes cancer goes undetected, and sometimes until it's that far gone that you have, like, literal pain. I mean, if you haven't experienced, like, do you know anyone that's died of cancer?
Yeah. Does anybody not? I mean, my uncle died of prostate cancer, for instance. I know several people. Huh?
Did he get annual checkups?
That I don't know. I don't know if he got annual checkups or not. I don't know that.
Okay, so my mother did, and she was a nurse, and she worked amongst physicians, and yet still she got diagnosed too late and died. The fact that people don't think that Joe Biden, like that they catch all cancers and that they sometimes aren't rapidly growing, is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. The human body is unpredictable. But like for instance, my mom died of colon cancer a couple years ago, and it's like now in her case, she was not getting proper screenings. She admitted on her deathbed. But I can't imagine somebody who gets yearly checkups like I do now because I'm, or every few years. I think they want me to get it every 4 or 5 years, and I'm trying to get it every 2. But if you went in every year for that, I can't imagine in 1 year you would go from nothing to stage 4.
Yes, you would. Yes, my parents did. And by the way, I mean, the other thing is that, like, there are certain things like colon cancer screenings, which, by the way, everyone schedule yours, that at a certain age, they stop testing you. They just stop because even mammograms, like those kind of things, like they slow down or they stop testing. And so, they're like, okay, listen, you're an older man. You don't have a family history of prostate cancer. So we're not going to just keep testing everybody for everything all the time. I mean,
yeah, I don't know, but if you're the president, you can get additional tests and things like that because they said that he gets his blood.
Should we test every president for everything all the time?
If I'm president, I'm gonna use that healthcare up.
We don't actually just throw things at people all the time. Like, I don't think that Donald Trump is getting echocardiograms and stress tests.
No, I agree with you. You can't force. I agree with you. You can't force him. I'm simply saying if I'm in that position where I got unlimited healthcare shit, I'm gonna be getting tests drawn every 3 months. If I can just simply say I want to get a blood test, just check me and it's free, I'm gonna be getting tests constantly.
But cancers don't all show up on blood tests, and neither did heart disease, right? Like you would have to be like constantly checking and doing stress tests and echocardiograms and calcium tests and all the things. Like you're not going to just keep doing that like month after month after month after month after month. I mean, so let's just say all of a sudden that, and I don't wish this upon anyone, our current president has a heart attack, right? Are we gonna like question that the doctors didn't do enough testing, like they should have?
Hell yeah, Trump. Let me say. It's funny you say, but let me just be clear. When it comes to President Trump, he could literally be older than Betty White and die peacefully in his sleep, and it's still gonna be the deep state's fault. There is no way Trump is gonna perish without somebody saying that something was not behind it. I don't care if he dies at 150. Somebody took his life. They're not going to ever let Trump just leave on the grounds that he just left.
Agree on that.
Huh?
I'll agree on that. But like, if for some reason all of a sudden he has a catastrophic event, which I do not wish for him or anybody else, like, are we going to say that it was hidden? Are we going to say that the government and his doctors hid his cholesterol and they should have done more testing and they should have done a stress test and nuclear scan and an echocardiogram and an ultrasound? You know what I'm saying? It sounds a little crazy.
I'm going to tell you, when that man had COVID and, you know, he was having breathing issues and things like, if he had perished, I bet Dr. Fauci would have received some of the blame. Yes, if something happens to him, there's going to be somebody to blame. Guarantee. I don't care when it happens. If something happens to him, you know, certainly if he don't just took a trip and met with Putin or Zelensky, or somebody going to get blamed no matter how old that guy is.
Okay, so that's the thing, is MAGA loves a good conspiracy. So
right.
Let's just take this Biden. Let's just take Biden's diagnosis, for example. You've got half of MAGA saying it's because of the C-19 thing.
Right.
And that was like rapid growth. And then you have them saying, no, we've known about it for years and they were hiding it. So, like, which one is it? Like, decide, MAGA. Is it, like, rapid growth because of this? Or is it slow growing and you're hiding it, right? So they love a good conspiracy theory. And, listen, the man has cancer. It's sad. I wouldn't wish it upon anybody, even our current president. And let's just let the man, like, live out his days.
Why do you think he decided to tell us?
Well, because a president or an ex-president always shares this type of information with the public.
I don't know about that, because Ronald Reagan was dealing with dementia, and he certainly did not come out and tell people.
Alzheimer's,
or
right?
Whatever he was. Yeah, he was dealing with it toward the end of his second term. He was in office dealing with stuff, and he didn't tell anyone.
So here's one of the problems I have is everyone's coming after Joe Biden for like cognitive decline. And I actually probably wouldn't disagree with the fact that I do believe from when Joe Biden started office to when he ended office that we did not see cognitive decline. Okay, like I'm not like blind to the fact that he wasn't the same when he started.
Then if you're not blind to it, why was Kamala Harris going around saying he was okay?
Well, I mean, because he was still capable of doing his job. Like, it was weird. Like, I watched his debate, and, you know, I was one of the few creators that came forward and said he needed to step down.
Right.
But the next day, he gave a master class.
With no pressure.
With no pressure.
Yeah.
And so it was, like, a little bit confusing, right? But, I mean, I don't think that anyone can argue that Donald Trump isn't also in cognitive decline compared to his first 4 years, right? And I mean, is that a cover up? Like, I mean, is his administration covering up that like he talks in like crazy circles and doesn't make sense? Like, I mean, I just don't see a big difference between Joe Biden's cognitive decline.
No! Wait. Look, I'm willing to entertain Trump's an older guy and he's not as sharp as he used to be. But you're going to tell me you don't see any difference between Trump's cognitive decline as you say in Biden's? You see them on the same level?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, if you listen to Trump, I mean, he makes no sense. Like, he literally is like, there's no... Are you kidding? I mean, there's times when Joe Biden was sharp as a tack, and there's times when Trump sounds a little bit better than others. But, like, I actually don't see a big difference between the two men in their decline. No, I don't.
I guess the reason why I'm saying is because you had a lot of folks on the left I bet you had a lot of folks on the right saying Biden was out of it, which they politically are going to do. But you also had no shortage of folks on the left, from George Stephanopoulos, George Clooney, and all. You don't have anybody on the right saying Trump is out of it, and not many folks on the left. So even what the public is seeing does not seem to bear up to what you're saying. They see Biden as far more out of it than Trump. How many folks on the right? How many folks on the right think that Trump is in decline?
Wait. You say that with confidence, but like, where are you getting that?
I don't. The fact that I can't think of anybody I can't think of a single name of anybody on the right that's saying that Trump is out of it. I mean, even the Romneys and Liz Cheney's, they're not saying the guy is cognitively out of it.
I mean,
any names at all?
So, of people on the right who are calling Trump in cognitive decline, I'm sure that I could find it if I teacupped. There are definitely plenty of people on the right who've spoken up and spoken out against Donald Trump and his capabilities. That's why his cabinet, 40 out of 44 people, didn't support him for a multitude of reasons. But listen, the bottom line is we had a choice between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump in this election. And it was not a choice between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. If both men are in cognitive decline, we had a choice. And we chose, sadly, Donald Trump. And, we can continue to say, what about Biden? But that wasn't the choice we had in 2024.
Do you hold, well, in regards to what about Biden, do you hold him accountable at all for giving Kamala Harris such a little time period to run, or the fact that the Democrats could not pick a suitable candidate, they had to just go with her?
100%. I think that Joe Biden should have been a one-term president, and I think he should have allowed for, I think he should have stepped down and allowed for primaries, for sure. Like, I think it was handled wrong on the Democratic Party side. I think that they should have. I think they should have said, you know what, he promised to be a one-term president. Like that was his promise originally. And I think that they should have held true to that.
It would have divided it probably would have divided, what you're saying would have divided the party, because he clearly didn't want to leave. Before I'm moving on from you though, I did want to ask you, because you were at the DNC, if I'm correct, you were among the content creators and things like that. How did you feel, because you're there, did you feel the energy to the point where you thought Kamala Harris was going to easily do this?
Wow, that's a great question. So, it was amazing being at the DNC, and yes, it was electric. And actually, no one was talking about Trump, to be honest with you. And if you looked at the RNC's vibe compared to the DNC's vibe, the DNC was like so much more energetic and electric compared to like people with tampons or pads on their ears, and it was like, and by the way, like diverse. Like if you looked at the RNC, like they kept panning to the same like people of color like over and over because it was so lacking. And at the DNC, it was just, it represented America, and I felt extremely hopeful. I have to say though, as it got closer and closer to the election, and the more and more Donald Trump started pandering to the far right of his party and stopped caring about the independents, I was like, we lost. Because at that point, at his Madison Square Garden rally, which was super like racist and charged, I was like, he just needs to rally his base. And he doesn't care about the independent and the moderate vote anymore. Like, he is just rallying his base. And I was like, I think he's going to win. I actually said, unpopular opinion leading up to the election, that I think that Donald Trump is going to win this election.
So if he could stop catering to America as a whole and only to the far right, are you suggesting that most American voters lean far right? And you even use the word racist. Are you saying that the majority of voters in this country, that's the way they identify?
Well, they're not the majority, first of all, okay? So he didn't even get the popular vote. He got about 30% of the vote. Unfortunately, there's a couple things at play. We have an ignorant voting base, and maybe about 5% actually understand what they're voting for. Okay, there was a lot of amp like excitement around him. We had a lot of young men. We had some new demographics that voted for him. But unfortunately, we had a lot of people who sat home and didn't vote, and that was actually the bigger issue. So I think in the next election, no, I don't think that will continue to play. I don't think we can continue to play the hate card because America's awakening a little bit to it. But no, I don't think that every Trump supporter is a racist, and I actually hate when people say that. There are many people that voted for Trump because they
because a whole lot of Hispanics voted for Trump, and they certainly aren't racist. He won the Hispanic female vote, Hispanic male vote. He won the white female vote. So
well, yeah, he won my vote, not mine, but
your category, your category.
But I mean, he won it out of fear and hate and anger, though. But I don't think that every Trump voter is a racist. I think that's actually a really bad narrative coming from my new party. But I do think that a lot of people were suffering in America, and they voted for him because he said he was going to bring down gas and food and the cost of goods, and they actually believed him. And they thought, and they're suffering, and I appreciate that people are suffering, and they thought that he was going to fix things. And unfortunately, now it's short-term pain for long-term gain, and your costs are going to go up, and and your kid can have 2 dolls, and we're going to strip programs for food assistance and heat assistance and FEMA and all the things, and they're not getting what they voted for. And
now speaking of what they voted for, you voted for him once or twice, you said? Now you voted for him in 2016 over Hillary Clinton. Did you vote for him over Biden the first time?
Yes.
What made you not give him a third chance? Because folks suggested, his first term he did a good job. Why wouldn't you give him a third vote?
Well, because for the first 4 years he actually did nothing to help average Americans in the middle class. There is no policy that he put forward that was beneficial to the middle class. I voted for him in 2020 out of complete stubbornness. I mean, listen, I wanted to vote for somebody other than Donald Trump. I knew he wasn't a good person. I watched him make fun of a disabled person. I watched him say he could grab women. I did not think he was a good man. But everyone was calling me a racist, and I actually hated that. And so because everyone was saying I was a certain way, I voted out of spite. I voted out of stubbornness, and I voted out of own the libs. So I literally just checked that box to say, don't tell me who I am. Okay, I actually knew that Trump was a bad person when I checked that box. And I think a lot of people checked that box with this time with the same intensity. So No, and then I watched January 6th, and I was like, absolutely not. How could I possibly give this man, my husband and I both sat here, lifelong conservatives, and said, how could you possibly give this man your vote? How could you possibly, when he defies everything that this country stands for? I know it's disgusting to admit, but if I don't admit it, then people won't learn. So the reason why I'm brutally honest is because I think it's important that people hear it, because I think that's why people voted the same way I did.
Fair enough. So it was all about, not necessarily that he was a great guy when you voted for him the second time. It was kind of like what they're voting for him now is to own the libs.
100%. I voted for him to own the libs because I was tired of being name called. I was tired of being told who I am and what I believe.
So let me ask you, now that you're on this side of the aisle with the liberals, do you think the liberals should stop calling Trump and Trump supporters insults? Because you're stating that was one of the reasons why you stuck with them. When they go low, we go high. Are you giving credibility to Michelle Obama?
Yeah, yes, I am giving credibility to Michelle Obama because I do believe that it's counterproductive. And unfortunately, I make the same mistake sometimes in my own content, but I do believe it's counterproductive.
Yeah, you got some videos out there, Michi. I've been watching you. You be dancing around you killing them out there.
No, so some people deserve it, right? So some people deserve it. So there definitely are. Again, my youngest, who is just a really smart young lady, said to me, Mom, look at the extremes on both sides. Look at the extreme leftist and look at the extreme right. And where do you most align? And I thought that was such a great way to look at it. So when I look at the extreme left, they want like inclusivity and free healthcare, and right, like they're fighting for people's human rights. And when I look at the far right, like it's like YT supremacy.
Yeah, but the extreme, but they're going to push back and say the extreme left is for open borders, and you don't know what the hell a woman is, and they're they're anti-Christian. They're going to point that stuff out too, Mishi.
Well, okay, so anti-Christian how?
I mean, like, they want Christianity in schools and shit like that. The left is like, you got a lot of folks on the left that are not like myself, not really Christian at all. I mean, it's just
So the far left is fighting against Christianity in school. Like that's not a bad thing. Like, I mean, we have separation of church and state. So that's the argument. Where far right wants Christianity in school and children learning from the Bible. So that's a perfect example. Like, which one do you stand on? Forcing the Bible into schools, or saying the Bible doesn't belong in schools?
Yeah. I'm with it not being in schools, but they tend to think that with all of the violence and kids not knowing their sexual identity, they think if you put Bibles back in a child's life, it would help get children back on the straight and narrow. So that's their opinion.
Okay, yeah, because the highest levels of teen pregnancy are in the Bible Belt. So clearly,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, so Christian values definitely are not helping that. Not to mention that 50% of pastors are addicted to pornography.
You know that either. I didn't know that either. Wow.
So clearly, pushing Christian values is not necessarily helping put people on the straight and narrow. When you look at Donald Trump's spiritual advisor, who was found to have assaulted a minor, right? So, and in fact, if you look at Schmetty files, I'm going to be careful for your live, 90-something% identify as religious. So I don't see that religion is putting anybody on the straight and narrow. So that's so again, what is another way that you think far leftists are too far left?
Well, I'm going to say the whole trans issue, I mean, I don't listen. I lean left, but I don't agree with, if I decide, and I'm 6'6", 300 pounds. If I want to transition into a woman, I don't think I should be able to play sports on a woman's team. Now, no one in the country is dealing with this shit, but there are folks on the right that think that the liberals are trying to ruin the integrity of women's sports by allowing something like the example I gave to let that happen.
Okay, so I'd be so willing to have a conversation about that if it wasn't built around dehumanizing a community, a marginalized community, right? So if they just wanted to have that conversation and say, how do we handle this moving forward? But they didn't use dehumanizing language, that's great. But instead, they just decided to say that they're schmetophiles and these horrible people.
It's hate. It's hate. Yeah, it's hate. I say that on the program all the time. If you really are concerned with your child being sexually abused by somebody, it's far more likely to come from the people you leave them with every day than anybody from the LGBT community, like your, everything from your priest to your Boy Scout leaders to your football or a sports coach. The teachers are banging kids all over the damn place. I mean, it's far more likely to come from the people your kids are already hanging around.
Okay, and so they want to address this, right? However, there are 10 trans athletes in the entire collegiate sports, okay? 10. And only 3 of them are trans women. So 3 are trans men, which no one seems to care if women are playing in men's sports. And then 3 are non-binary. So we are having these like culture wars about 3 individuals. 3.
Yeah.
In your entire state, there are maybe 1 or 2 trans athletes trying to run on a sports team. And until we can figure this out, I will always support inclusion rather than exclusion. And so that is how I feel. But I will be willing to have a conversation with someone who feels differently than I do, as long as we use language that is kind and compassionate.
Good luck with that, Nishi. I do got to move it on. Thank you.
I know, it's fine. I can chat all day. But I appreciate you having me
if
on.
I didn't have to step away, I thoroughly enjoy your content, Mishi. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
My sentiments exactly. Moving on with the program real quick. I do have to unfortunately step away for a minute. Because I really enjoyed talking to her. Looking in the comments though, this woman is, I saw that already. Somebody else had a big fan. Evil Super Major Blue says Donald Trump believes that dogs and cats can fly. What? LOL, certain human beings are eating them. That is where I never heard Trump say he believes that dogs and cats can fly. But he says that certain human beings are eating them. Yeah, he does believe that. What is there not to say that he is delusional? So you're saying because Trump, I'll tell you this, in my opinion, the reason why Trump says some of that wild stuff like what my last guest was saying and what you're saying, Evil Super Major Boo, is Trump does indulge in far-right conspiracy sites. You often see me bring up the clip where he's telling Bill O'Reilly, or Bill O'Reilly's criticizing him for retweeting that 80% of white homicide victims are killed by blacks. He gets on those far-right sites where that stuff is at. So it ain't that Trump is crazy in the head or anything like that. It's the sites he gets on. And if you believe that stuff, then you're going to come back with it. Kind of like, remember when Roseanne Barr, former comedian, used to be on the Roseanne Barr show? She started, if you're trafficking in these far right sites and you believe the stuff that's on there, Q type stuff you hear from Q. I used to debate with folks back and forth who told me that, what is this, May 2025? 4 years ago, May 2021, in a few months, Trump was going to become president again. The military was going to arrest Nancy Pelosi, or there was going to be a tribunal for Joe Biden. This is the stuff they were believing. And I used to go back and forth. I had folks tell me, because I've been vaccinated and had the booster shots, that I was going to be dead by the winter of 2021. Because of Ashley's poison. I mean, so if you're on those sites and you believe that stuff, that's what's going to happen. And I do believe that Trump does go on those sites because he's posted stuff and you're like, the only way you're going to find something like this is you got to be deep in the right-wing circles. That's the only place you're going to find this shit. Breitbart or something like that. You've been hanging around in far-right circles and this is what they're telling you. And the Haitian migrants thing, the Haitian migrants eating cats, and that's where that kind of stuff, J.D. Vance picked that up from something like that. And then, of course, Trump echoes it. People who didn't like the Haitian migrants just made up some shit to demonize them in Springfield and posted it. Vance picked it up, Trump picked it up, and then they echoed it out. I think that Joe Biden should have only served maybe 2 years and then passed it on to come layers, knowing that his conditions were going to be so worse. I think what my last caller said is where I would have agreed with. He should have did one term. That way the Democratic Party knew ahead of time, we got to make sure we put in place another strong leader to follow him up. That would have gave that second person, you're talking about the election in 2024. Biden got elected in 2020. If Biden, when he was inaugurated in 2021, was already announcing that he was going to be a one-term president, that means from 2021 to the election in November 2024, the Democrats had time to strengthen someone in the public eye, get out there and get a good opinion of him and all of that. Now, I'll give you a perfect example. Tampon Tim, as they call him. I actually think that guy would make a decent politician. But it's impossible when you only got 100 days to run. Like the tampon thing. There is so much time to correct that when you got a year or two at your disposal versus only 100 days. Remember Trump, the Muslim ban? Well, he only meant countries like Syria and Yemen and countries that are terrorist-oriented. Well, because he had time to correct it. Imagine if he had said that with only 100 days to go. So when you only, like when Kamala Harris got on The View and said, I wouldn't change anything that Biden did. Terrible statement considering Biden's poll numbers were in the tank at the time. But when you got a year or two to correct that shit, you can go on TV constantly and say, I've evolved and I realized that was wrong, or I realized we need to change it. You got 100 days, you don't have any time to correct that. So by Biden staying in it that long and only giving Walsh and Harris 100 days, anything they said had to be held at face value. Trump has said all kinds of things and been able to backtrack and correct himself. Locker room talk being one of the biggest. Imagine if that audio came out of him saying he liked to grab women by the you know what, only a month or two before the election. He had plenty of time to correct it. That makes a big difference when you got time to correct it. Biden did not give Harris and Walz any time to correct anything. So anything they said was taken at face value, and that was it. And every politician makes a mistake. Evil Super Major Boo says this woman should be the next congresswoman or president. Oh my God, damn, she is amazing. Where have you been? Be the next president. I beg you, please, please. Now that's in relation to my last caller, Evil Super Major Boo. Thank you. I'll say this. Listen, I agree with a lot of what my last caller was saying, but the fact is, unfortunately, she has 2 votes on her record to President Trump. Remember when George W. Bush was running for a second term, or when Obama stepped up and he's running against John McCain? Any member of Congress or Senate that's running for re-election, if they voted for the Iraq War, it was going to hurt them. And I'm going to say that in regards to Mishi. I probably agree with her far more than not, but you got 2 votes for Trump on your resume. Any other liberal that's trying to primary, they're going to bury you with that. And she can still beat him. I'm not saying that she couldn't win, but that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. Well, you part of the reason this guy got in office to begin with. And she voted for him twice. Any liberal would use that against her. I just want to play GTA. GTA 6 before the U.S. collapses. I am dying to see GTA 6 come out. I got an Xbox waiting for that one. Anyway, looking at the comments, he really been backtracking with his tariff bullshit. Yeah. What do we have? What was it called? Liberation Day, April 2nd. He's done nothing but backtrack since it happened. Not one tariff that Trump stated stayed the same for even a solid 2 weeks. It's just been moving on. Now the right, MAGA, folks who support Trump say that's part of the negotiation process. My opinion is it's just an excuse to explain why this shit ain't looking good. But the Trump tariffs, for instance, they've been all over the place. He got on television and said he was not going to suspend the tariffs. Next day, 90 days. All sorts of things. My opinion, if the tariffs are so great, you shouldn't have had to suspend them and move them all over the place. That's just my opinion, though. And I see somebody in the comments, John did say it's called negotiation. If you're imposing tariffs and then you're suspending them for 90 days, and he suspended the tariffs, I think, twice now, that's not negotiation. That means I didn't really do what I thought I should. If your tariffs are solid, you're doing what's right, you shouldn't have to be moving them all over the place. By the way, he was negotiating with himself. A lot of these countries were not even coming to the table. He was moving tariffs on himself. So I don't even know if it would be correct to call it a negotiation. No deals have been made. Exactly. That's the point. No deals have been made. Negotiating how? I think what he's been negotiating with is other Americans. He imposed tariffs that he thought were the right thing to do, and analysts in this country, financial analysts in this country, have been telling him how much you're hurting other Americans in the price of goods and services. So he's been negotiating with other Americans and lowering the tariffs because Americans have been telling him, you're going to ruin the stock market, you're going to ruin the economy. That's who he's negotiating with, us. He ain't negotiating with the other countries. He's negotiating with us. That's as bad as Tim doing tax to himself on a worse level. I think I know what you're trying to say. The government of Frostproof, Florida, approved a proposal to declare February 1st through February 6th as Donald J. Trump Week. Why, I don't know. Anyhow, I do got to step away, folks. I appreciate the 98 thou. I have to do some family obligations. Nevertheless, thank you for tuning in. If you will, feel free to follow the program on TikTok, Instagram. Give your boy a sub on YouTube. Nevertheless, I will catch you in a moment. Thank you. If I'm doing this right, you guys over here on YouTube is not acting right. I got to step away.